This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Phil Porto, a.k.a. Phil All Caps, back with another episode of the Knicks Nightcap with my team, Apollo freaking Reed and Al from Harlem. And we got so much to talk about, guys. Like, I am seriously through the roof. Like, some of the things we're going to talk about, it's even hard to believe. I watched the game with Al the other day, or last night, and the things that we saw in that game, it seemed like one of those Coach Carter style movies where it had to be a perfectly written script for it to make any sense whatsoever. And that's exactly what we saw last night from our New York Knicks. But before we get into it, shout out to everybody in the chat. Mr. Prince 100 Bill, we do got that Knicks fix coming right now. We got that stuff for you. He said, I'm going to break out in hives. We coming. Carbon Intellect. What's up?
Yeah.
My guy, Frizzy, the boss, is in the building. We appreciate you guys good already. We got a star-studded night. But before I go into all that stuff, I want to throw it to my guy, Apollo, and just see how his day's going. What's up, bro?
Man, I was in a great mood all day. It's amazing how your basketball team can make you feel better throughout your day. You know, a lot of stuff got thrown at me at work, but I was like, whatever. My Knicks won last night, and I was just listening to Knicks stuff all day long, man. It was, I was just living in the bliss. You don't really get a lot of opportunities like this, so you gotta embrace it when it does happen. So my day, I don't even remember what happened today. Besides for just listening to a whole bunch of Knicks stuff all over the place. So that's pretty much how my day was.
I love it. What about you, Al? How you doing, bro?
Everything's cool, man. I was happy that I woke up today with a voice because we was doing so much yelling. I was leading the Go New York, Go New York, Go. I was leading the chants at the bar. So when I left last night, I was like, dang, I'm not gonna have no voice at work today. They're gonna know I was outside. But I woke up and I was pretty good with my voice. So that was a win right off the bat. So like 2 wins in a row. And I got my day started off great, just like Apollo. So had a great day and ready to get into these bourbons and talk Knicks, man.
I love it. So let me just show you guys a little bit of mine and Al's experience yesterday. Shout out to the team here at Tampa Bay area Knicks fans. We went and we hung out with them at their watch party. They are plugged in for our watch party tomorrow. But these are some of the videos I just got on my phone, like just seeing the excitement of Knicks fans in Tampa, just killing it. So here we go. Here's a few of them. Shout out to Tampa Bay area Knicks group and Chris Vega.
Let's go, Knicks! Let's go, Knicks! Let's go, Knicks! Let's go, Knicks!
That's fine.
The whole ball was Knicks fans. It wasn't a single person in there that wasn't a Knicks fan.
Everyone was lit. Like, it just waiting for each moment. Like, each moment caused chaos. Like, it was packed from wall to wall. That's Chris right there that put on the event. So it was just cool to be able to see, Tampa, enjoying this, going off like crazy. I wish I had the video of Al on the group chat. It's not on the chat, but it was hilarious watching Al get on a table and just start chanting "Go New York, go New York, go!" Like he was straight up Vanilla Ice in a Ninja Turtle movie. It was hilarious just watching him. So it was so much fun just being there and enjoying it. Real quick before we get into some of the topics, I do want to give a shout out to the team at Gusto NYC for sending these over. I did not care how hot it was today in Florida. I wore this hoodie because I wanted to rep the Knicks and I wanted to rep Gusto. So I actually am going to do a little video of like sarcasm of how ridiculous Knicks fans are the day after a game where we won. But we won a historic game, so the nonsense is totally feasible. Shout out to everybody else that just joined. Rah 42680. You went to work and clocked in, Brody. Come on, Apollo.
Shout out to you, Rob. What up, bro?
So shout out to Ra. Shout out to the most optimistic Knick fans. Salute. Shout out to Don Melo.
You know who that is, right? The most optimistic Knick fan? That's Joe from AC. He changed his name.
Oh, what up, Joe?
Yeah,
what up, Joe?
Bro. All right, good to see Joe in the building as always. But guys, it's going to be a fun night. Okay, so not only do we have our guy, Mr. Doug Lust, coming up and chopping it up with us about his Knick fandom and creating these viral, crazy, hilarious music videos every single night after the game. Win or lose, Doug is faithful and puts these things out. So shout out to Doug. He'll be up in a little bit. He got stuck in some transit stuff. But we got him up here. But then also, it's going to be a lot of fun because the whiskey guest tonight is from Cleveland. Their distillery is from Cleveland, and they are Cavalier fans. So being able to chop it up with him and kind of just give a little bit of a jab and have him talk about how badly they cost themselves the game and pretty much how all their hopes of winning the series are now gone. I can't wait to like actually make that a real life thing for him live on the air. Nothing like destroying someone's NBA finals, dreams. It's happened to us so many times. To now be able to do it to someone else brings me such delight. So real quick before Doug gets here, I want to talk to you guys, like as Knick fans, like how did you feel like in yesterday's game? Like before we talk about like the celebration, like what were your thoughts going into the game? I know that there was a lot of like rust concerns and everything like that. So what was your guys' mental going into the game? Al going into the watch party, Apollo watching it at home with his fam. Like what were your thoughts going into the game? How did you see things going? I'll go with you
want
first.
to go first?
I'll go, Apollo.
Me? All right. I mean, going into the game, I was nervous of a little bit of rust, of course. That was something that I was really concerned about because that was something that we all expected in a way, but I was like, maybe it won't be that long. Maybe it'll be Sunday, because I kind of did think that it was going to go maybe 6 games. But when it went 7, I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is a little bit of extra time here, so I'm worried about that. But eventually I came around to the conclusion that I'm like, yo, these guys have been figuring it out every step of the way. They haven't lost a game since the first round. You know what I mean? And I think that they are a team that if you give them the right situation, they've been showing that they can take care of whatever's on their plate in front of them. So going into the game, I wasn't really nervous. I wanted Cleveland personally. So I was happy that we got them. And, I was like, I think we'll be able to take advantage of James Harden, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad.
Yeah. So what was your thoughts going into it?
Going into it, the number one thing that was on my mind was not really rust. It was more schematically. Like I knew that they were going to cheat off of Josh Hart. And the night before the game, we saw Caruso go off for, I think, 9 threes. He was like 9 for 15 against the Spurs. And then they showed a video of Josh Hart shooting threes like in the gym. And I'm like, oh, he knows what time it is. Like he knows he's going to have to hit these threes and keep them honest because he knows, like, we know, like, that's the defense they're going to play against us.
Yeah.
And so when the game started, and I saw just how Josh Hart was playing. I'm like, that's not how I envisioned him to come out. I wanted him to be more aggressive. Let it fly, man. See where your shot is at, like, and make them pay. But you know, he didn't do that, and then you saw the impact that defense kind of has on Cat and that Cat offense that we were implementing, right, where we had him as a hub. They were shutting off because Jarrett Allen is in the paint, and he was shutting off all the back cuts and all that. So that's what I was worried about. And it was all like, we had a good first quarter, but then in the second quarter, it started all unraveling. And that was like my biggest concern with the Cavs and this matchup. So I was started to panic like at that point in time. But that's what I was most like thinking about and looking forward to, and it all kind of happened.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I thought, you know, I was having talks before the game, and my concern was not that our guys would be any less like amazing, but more so time can bring complacency to not just like your emotions, but also your physical capabilities. You know, like your emotions could be completely in the game. Your head could be completely in the game. You know, like in those, you know, in that week that we had off, it could have been like, well, our guys were still locked in. They were still, you know, ready. They were still this, they were still that. And I saw a lot of stuff, you know, talking about how we were, you know, still practicing. But I'm like, that's great that we're still practicing. But when has practicing ever been the same as being in a game? Never.
Never.
You know? And so my concern was, okay, are these guys going to be too tired? You know, like not physically tired, but like the rest has them tired. It's kind of like every once in a while, I'll take a nap, right? And the nap will be too much. And I'm like, yo, I feel like I slept way too long. And now I'm less productive and less, you know, available and beneficial to my family because I feel like I'm completely dead, you know? And so I felt like that might be what was going to happen. And at first I thought I was right. You know, when we started seeing those first, you know, few moments, yes, we were in contention in that first half. But it also looked like we were playing like trash. Like it wasn't that they were playing as good as we were. It was that we were not playing good and they weren't playing great basketball, you know, but we weren't playing good. And when I saw a stat in the third or fourth quarter that said that we had been shooting 17% from three, I was just like, oh my goodness, you know, like this is the rust effect. It has to be the rust effect. And so that's what I was thinking going into the game. And I was just like, all right, I hope this rust wears off. And we all had, you know, crazy thoughts that we're going to have to admit to throughout this episode about the end of the world, as some of us felt like it was, because I'm telling you, you could seriously hear a like pin drop in the watch party at times. Like it was so dead quiet in that third quarter of us all just kind of scratching our heads like, what is happening? But before we go into that, I got to do a little recap of what we're going to talk about. And the only way to do a recap is because I see my man backstage. So we can't do a recap talking without doing a recap rocking out. All right. We need that Doug Lust, you know, vibes going through all of our systems so that we can get hype, because we were hyped last night, but it's late. You know, we've all had a long day, a lot of things emotionally, this, that, and whatever. So we got to get the juices flowing again. The best way to do that is a Doug Lust recap. So here we go. Let's see what we got.
Jalen Brunson's the hero, saved us. Hell no, we're not losing this game. Trailed by 22 in the fourth quarter, dropped 15 of his 38. Mix out to the defense from Harden, switched on to Jalen with Dean Wade. McHale nailing back-to-back three balls. Yeah.
that Doug Lust has a God-given talent. Anyone that can make me in what year is it? 2026. Rock out to a Nickelback song and actually not want to change the channel. That is a God-given talent, because ever since that song came on, it was one of those automatic skips. No matter what radio station, no matter what mixtape it was, if it was a Nickelback song like Butt Crack, I could not listen to that band. And so Doug made it not only palatable, but celebratory. So there is nothing but good things to say about Doug. And if that's not enough to talk about how good Doug is, okay, this man got booked for a gig because he's a rock star. All right. He got booked for a gig tonight. And he said, bro, I'm still doing the show. I'm going to go down early and I'm going to do it from wherever it's quiet enough to do it. And then I'll rock out at my show. And I was like, bro, you are freaking the man. So without further ado, I got to bring up one of my favorite people in the Knicks community. And I'm going to say this. He's some of y'all's favorite now that he's famous. All right. But I knew Doug before the hit song first started. All right. Before the first recap ever happened, he was on our show. All right. So y'all some fair weather Doug fans. I'm a real look. Right? Without further ado, my guy.
What a tremendous intro, Phil. I appreciate that, bro. It's so good to see you. And I appreciate you having me on and like being flexible with me. I'm on Thompson Street in West 3rd. So I'm just trying to find, and of course it decided to just piss rain tonight. I was like, I'll go find a nice park bench and chat with the guys, and then it's like pissing.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I know that, you got that gig tonight and everything like that, but we had you on for a few minutes on Tom's episode, and we were all just like, we got to get him back. Lee from Nick of Time was like, bro, you connect with Doug so well. Get him on the show again. I was like, we already are. And so it was just like everyone was on the same page about getting you on. But, bro, I want to talk about first, before we talk about the game, writing these songs. All right. We talked a little bit about it on the last episode. Okay. But it's so cool to be able to see Doug started these songs when the Knicks were getting good, but we still had a lot of rockiness as well.
Right.
Like, easy to be like, oh, snap. I'm going to pick up my guitar because I'm an OKC fan and I know how to play guitar and we barely lose games. It's like, cool, sweet brag, bro.
Wait, what season are you on of doing the recaps? Is this your, third?
This is my second. I started, well, I really liked the cat trade. That was kind of why I was kind of like, I'm ready to do something content-wise with the Knicks. Because Phil, the reason I know Phil for as long as I do is because we used to chop it up in spaces.
Yep.
And we used to just go back and forth giving takes about the team and arguing about Randall and arguing about this, that, arguing about Tibbs, all the stuff we all argue about. And Ari was always like, you got to do something with music in the Knicks. And everybody was like, I know Phil's got bars and everybody's done a little bit of like showing their other talents other than analyzing the team. So I was like, once they made that cat trade, I was kind of like, and the Bridges trade, it all happened the same summer, obviously. So I was kind of like, okay, this team is now locking in to like a chips on the table situation. So I want to see if I can tap into some musical content, not on some like how do I blow up tip, but on some like I'm talking about this team nonstop anyway, and I'm like I'm on spaces for hours anyway, and I'm trying to make music and I'm trying to create and I'm trying to like just get better as a songwriter and producer. So I was like, I'll challenge myself to like write a metal song every game. And then it just turned into like these song parodies and then the parodies of like familiarity of songs you already know. That's when people started to like really dig it. So yeah, man, that's just the long and short of it. And it's like something I've got down to a science and I just have like a ton of fun doing.
And I love it because, the cool thing about the fact that you've been doing it for a while is that you're loyal to do them every single night. And that's something that people don't realize, the production, the time, the talent that goes into it. The fact that Doug can do like a Nickelback song last night and then tomorrow, because we're playing we're playing against the Cavs, he can come out and do a Bone Thug song because they're from Cleveland. Like, hey, idea, just throwing it out there.
Watch out.
Like,
watch out.
But it's even more than the song. It's a video too. I remember when I first bumped into Doug, I was watching his videos and I had to like ask him in the comments. I'm like, bro, do you have a twin or is that you on there? Like, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, yo, he has two people doing that. Is that him?
Can you imagine if that was really the case? Like me and my twin brother were like, yo, let's spend all this time together as a duo making music.
Yeah, honestly, there's some like Into the Spider-Verse stuff. If I show up to a watch party in the finals and Doug's got his twin with him, it'll completely ruin the whole perception of like it'll all be ruined. But yeah, like even that, the fact that there's some videos where there's 4 Dougs in it means he recorded it 4 times. And then
that's right.
And
I'll say, sorry, Phil. I'll say this: the reason I do it every game is because there's not a Knicks fan that I know that's a real Knicks fan that's going to get caught with somebody telling them that they're a fair weather fan.
Yeah,
like none of the 3 of you can somebody really look you in the eye and be like, man, you're just getting on the bandwagon now because for a fact you've been in the mud. And the reason I do every game is that people get in my comments after a big win, like when TGI Fly and I collaborated at the end of the Philly series.
Yeah,
a bunch of Sixers fans are like, all this to get eliminated by the Thunder or whatever. And I'm like, all right, dude, like, sure, but like, I'm going to write a song about that too. So like, what do you want from me?
And the perfect reply is, well, at least we could get eliminated by the Thunder,
Exactly,
like,
dude.
Right.
Like
You guys are a couple rounds away from that. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, has anyone like the songs that you make the parodies on, has the person that originated that song has they ever reached out and like, yo, I like what you did and anything like that?
Well, the coolest example of that happening was the Freeway Just Blaze thing with TGI Fly. So what happened was I tagged the artist and I'm always like inspired by this song so that they know that I'm like, I'm trying to pay homage because I recreate the songs with my own instruments.
Yeah, and I saw you how you broke that down. That was crazy.
Right.
That
Thank
was crazy.
you. And I think sometimes people think I'm just like ripping these tracks online, but I'm not. Like that's like the challenge for me is to see how I can produce them. So anyway, I tagged Just Blaze and I tagged Freeway in that. And then a couple hours go by and the video's going crazy because Fly killed it and it was awesome.
He killed it.
Right.
He killed it.
Yeah.
And Just Blaze commented, "Welcome to New York City. See what I did there?" And then Freeway replied like SMH, like hand over face, like, and it was this really special thing where it was like I used a song that a Philly artist and a New York artist collaborated on, and they talked smack to each other about it in my comment section, and I was like, and it's like, yes, these artists, but these are like my Freeway and Just Blaze. I've been listening to since I'm like 13 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 37 now. So it's like, it's a big deal to me, So it's like, and then he even saw the making of and was like, because I guessed how he did something. I was like, did he use this drum sample or this drum sample? I'm not sure. And then he replied, he was like, well, I actually used the clap. And I was like, oh wow, dude.
That's fire.
Like, thanks for telling me. So
Just
that's
Blaze himself. Yeah. That's fire, yo.
I mean, he's one of my favorite producers of all time. It's just like the cleanest, like meat and potatoes, like hip hop production that you will hear. So that's kind of my like. It's just so pristine. The way his sounds. It's not like like DJ Premier is more of like a vinyl like scratching type of producer, but Blaze is more of like a in the studio laying it out type of producer, and that both are awesome. But like, you know, he's my favorite of that kind of style, so that was very significant for me.
Yo, let me ask you about this moment, because it's probably like a opposite moment, but it's still hip hop. I remember last year when Cameron was like making fun of you on one of your videos that you made. Like, how did you feel about that? Because I looked at it and I was like, first of all, Cameron's always hating on the Knicks. I don't know why. It's
He's not a Knicks fan. He's not. He's too cool to be a Knicks fan. So like,
I was like, oh,
keep going. Sorry, my bad, Al.
I was just like, look, Doug done made it. Like, Cam is. So that's how I looked at it.
So the only stuff that offends me is if like you say that I'm like I'm causing bad juju for the team by doing this, or that I'm like not a real fan or I'm a front runner. If you think my song is whack, that's fine. If you think the Knicks are whack, that's fine. If you think my video, like, say it all. Keep it coming. Because it's like it's just going to push me up the algorithm and more people.
Yeah, it's engagement. Yeah, it's engagement. Yeah.
And getting reposted by Cameron is also like, he's one of my, again, like, what do you do when you're just like hanging out with your boys in 2005 and you're just kicking it like outside, you know what I mean? Smoking something at night or on a roof or something. What are you going to put on? Dipset. You put on Purple Haze. You put on Dipset.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's like, dude, I don't think I'm like killing it like Belle Biv DeVoe in the video that he reposted. I'm like very clearly like a white Jewish guy from the Upper West Side, like paying tribute to Belle Biv DeVoe because I love Belle Biv DeVoe and I love that song. So I think that was the one he reposted like last playoffs against Boston. And I think what he says was like, you can't like these New York guys, like they can't handle themselves, bro. And I'm like, you're right, bro. This is crazy that I did this. So you know, I make no bones about who I am or what I'm trying to do, and I think most people see that.
Yeah, and you know what I love about it is like you did it in excellence before it got notoriety. You know, a lot of people will like up their quality because it's getting noticed. It's doing this, it's doing that. But like you said, regardless, I'm doing this. And if I do it as an artist, as a Knicks fan, I owe it to myself and to the community to do it in excellence. And that's what I love. You know, that's what I appreciate.
You, man. Thank you.
And no one could say you're a fair weather fan. That's a friggin' fact. You know, like,
just ask my wife, dude. Ask my wife, like, what happened to our remote control when the Knicks lost in triple overtime to the Lauri Markkanen Bulls. Kristaps Porzingis, Knicks, Lauri Markkanen Bulls. Season we're going nowhere. We had to order a new remote control because we lost that.
No, I got another story about Doug when I first started following him. I was just combing through his page and he's at a gig. There's a video of him at a gig playing, but he has like his phone propped up and he's watching the Knicks game. He's not reading any music notes. He's watching the Knicks game playing like this.
Don't make it hot, Al. That's the thing though, is like whenever I'm in that situation, I try to make it look like I'm reading music, but everybody knows that I work with. Everybody knows that I hate reading music and I learn everything by ear.
That's
so
how
they like know what's going on. Like they know.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, nah, this dude is a diehard for real.
That is hilarious.
That would be me because I used to play trumpet and I could never read music. I had to play by ear.
That's it, bro. It just feels more natural to me. So like I'm like looking like this at my phone in the middle of a gig, and I'm like, dude, yeah, I don't know how to play "Don't Stop Believing," even though we played it 600 times.
Oh man, that's hilarious. So obviously the fandom runs deep. So before we talk about like the game last night and this current series, where did Doug's fandom begin? Like, how long have you been in the trenches as a Knicks fan? Like, is there like a story that brought you there? Like, I would love to hear it.
I appreciate you like asking me all these questions about me. It means a lot to me that you're giving time on your show to discuss it. I appreciate that. So basically, my father's from Chicago, and he's like a diehard Chicago Cubs fan. And he met my mom in LA, whatever. They moved to New York. They raised us in New York City. And but he passed on the like sicko obsessive sports gene. And the team that caught me was the Knicks when I was like 5 years old, because I was about 5 when they made the finals in '94, and so like my brother and I were just obsessed, and like Patrick Ewing was like, I mean, he was larger than life, and that whole squad, like, you know, anybody who remembers like what Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley and John Starks did on the court in terms of like toughness and grit and like winning games 88-84 and just like bleeding on the court. That's like, you know, that's how it starts for so many of us who grew up in that era. And it was the same for me. And then, you know, followed through the 99 run, you know, was tough to not break through, but obviously a miraculous run. And then I kind of got really serious about music, like around the time that like the Marbury era sort of began. So the Knicks faded back a little bit for me, and I just like didn't think about anything but music from like 03 to like 06 or something like that. And then LeBron got in the league, and I was like, oh man, what if we got him? So then I spent 4 years getting back into the Knicks, like digging. Like I love Q Rich, I love Nate Robinson, I love Al Harrington. Like that era, even though the team wasn't good, there were some really great players in that era with like great personalities. So that like re-hooked me back into the team. And then of course it was like, we traded this guy, we traded for T-Mac, we traded that guy, we didn't re-sign that guy, and it's all clearing cap space for LeBron. And that like that whole combination of like, which of these guys are going to stay on the team when we get LeBron, and then we're going to get LeBron, and then we didn't get LeBron, and then we got Melo, and then it's like the whole story, like, you know, and then I started kind of becoming like an online fan, like I guess to try to figure out like what we're doing in the like latter Melo years through like the Porzingis years. I was kind of like, there are not enough Knicks fans in the city anymore right now. Like, where's the community at? So I just went online, and like, you know, I discovered Knicks Fan TV and Knicks Film School around like 2018 and something like that. And then all these personalities are all on Twitter. And then like I'm talking directly to people on Twitter that I was listening to on those YouTube shows. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now it's not only this thing that I like have to suffer by myself or with my, like, I have one best friend from middle school that is like as sick in the head as I am. And so I'm like, okay, so now it's not only me and Julian, shout out to my boy Julian, but it's like this whole community of people that have it. Like they have the bug that I have. So it's like, and then, you know, and now it's like finally all those years of like, nah, guys, like Jared Jeffries, like it's like Jared Jeffries and you know, Al Harrington on a Friday night. I can't make it out tonight, y'all. I'm like, I gotta see what happens here. Like all those years, like now it pays off. And we the four of us in this room are the ones, we know we're enjoying it in a specific way. I'll put it that way. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. I love that. You know what one thing that, like, you know, I love in the chat right now is, you know, Jay Boogie just pulled up, you know, and Jay Boogie gave that shout out, and he said, like, big ups to the show. Please share, like, but then he said, when you dedicate yourself to hard work, your craft will be birthed. Doug, you deserve your
great
glory.
Great man. Jay Boogie is a great man, and he's been in the damn trenches. He loves this team for real. For real. Years, like the closer. Knicks Fan TV 2020. The closer. You know?
Salute, Jay Boogie, my God, man.
Capital S. See, we all know it. We all know it.
We all know it.
He's a legend. And we're actually going to, later on in the episode, we are going to show or listen to a little bit of his new track that Apollo.
Yeah, he just dropped something.
Yeah, so he just dropped it. We're about to, so we're excited for that.
I can't wait to hear my verse, man.
Let's go.
Shout out to Jay Boogie for giving me a little chance to jump on there with everybody, especially with some legends, man. Some real heavy hitters. So salute to you, bro.
I kicked myself off the show accidentally. But all right, so what I want to do is, you know, because I know Doug's got his performance tonight. He's got a setup. He's got a, vibrato, get all that thing going. but I want to talk about the game. Specifically a few quick topics. And so the first is, were we concerned with the return of OG Anunoby? Did we think he came back in the right time? Do we think he came back early from what we saw? And do you have any concerns moving forward for the rest of the season? So I'll throw it to you, Al, to get your initial thoughts.
Well, initially, I believed everything that the Knicks media was telling us. And then as the week went by and they were saying, OG hasn't practiced, I'm like, all right, guys, you're scaring me. And then the last day, they were like, OG practiced, he did everything that everyone else did. And I'm like, sounds like y'all just did a walk around today. So I was like, I wasn't buying. You know how many times the Knicks doctors and the Knicks public relations people have lied to us about injuries. I have real PTSD when it comes to Knicks injuries. So I was like, yo, I don't know, man. I'm concerned. And then when the game started, he has this brace on his leg and he wasn't moving that good. So I'm very concerned still. I'm glad he made it through the game, but I think he was a little bit more hurt than they were letting on.
All right. What are your thoughts, Apollo?
I mean, personally, this happened before. I think it was against. Was it against the Pacers? Yes, I think it was against the Pacers the first time.
Yep.
And he goes up for. I think he tried to go for a dunk, and his hamstring, but it was the other leg. That was the other leg. So the fact that it was a grade 1, they say it was a grade 1 hamstring strain. It's still a tear. I don't know if anybody knows exactly what it is. It's still a tear. So I was concerned that, all right, maybe if it's bad, he's not going to play, because like they said, and previously when he actually hurt it bad, is that he was going to be out for quite some time, like they knew. But once they came out the next day and said it was day to day, I was like, all right, maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. I don't know. I've never heard of a day-to-day hamstring injury. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
So maybe this is new news. So, I did think about the fact that he did try to go up for a dunk vertically after he initially hurt it. So I'm like, maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe it was something that they can get a hold on before it gets too bad. So, I was a little concerned, but the fact that we had so much time off, I'm just like, all right, yeah, like there's no reason for me to really think that he needs that much more time, because he sat for 9. Actually, the team sat for 9 games. He sat for more time than the rest of the team did.
Yeah.
So, I was like, maybe he should be good, and then when the game started, like you said, you see him with the brace, he's not moving right. I'm like, is he scared? But I also know that this medical staff would not have put him out there if they had concerns. You know what I mean? I really trust this medical staff. They've been on point all year. They've got Mitchell Robinson to be fairly healthy from where he came from. So I had faith in him, and he started to get it going towards the end, but he definitely had some rust.
Yeah. All right. I'll go to Doug before I give my take on the OG stuff. What are your thoughts on OG right now?
I think he's probably feeling you don't come off of a hammy situation and immediately feel super confident in lifting off that foot. But what's interesting to me is that it was the shooting that suffered. It was the 3-point shooting that suffered. He was still driving really tough. And he almost got one of the sickest and ones that I've ever seen to start overtime. And all the highlight packages I've seen just skip over that play. And I'm like, nah, he started overtime trying to take a body. Right. And that's actually super tough, especially considering that he's coming off injury. And then he got to the line and he knocked down 8 of 10 free throws on a night when the team shot 60% from the line.
Yeah.
So, and then he also had that really nice drive along the baseline where he just kind of used his muscle and his strength to get in close to the hoop. So I think he was very resourceful, considering that he's on a little rust situation like the rest of the team with the addition of the hamstring. So I think I was pretty pleased. And I think what's interesting about his role in this team, first of all, he didn't sit at the end of the game. Shamet played instead of Hart. And the threat of OG and the physicality of OG needed to be out there. And OG is one of the players where we have a really clean, clear-cut mismatch advantage against Cleveland. No matter how they divide up their coverages, like he's gonna be a problem for them. So I'm hopeful that he was just getting back into shape with the shot. Nobody shot well, but I didn't see anything that was like OG's like really. Like when he came back for that game 7 against Indiana, I was like, he is not good.
Yeah,
He's not good. You could tell. Yeah, he was not ready to come back.
And this was nothing like that. So that's my thing. Yeah.
And so, I'll kind of piggyback off of that. Like, I understand Knicks PTSD. Like, we've been fans for so long. We've seen very, very stupid moves from our organization before. Like, that's just the truth of the matter. Like, we've seen things that were like, why is this happening? But this regime has moved so different this year. And that's what we have to do, is look at it from this year's point of view, because they have utilized the reason we have Mitchell Robinson right now killing it in the playoffs is because they thought it was more important to play him 19 to 22 minutes a game in the season so that he was eligible for this. In seasons past, we didn't care about that. Like, we pushed them until they couldn't anymore. Or a player would come back and we'd be like, yo, that looks horrible. But every time we've seen a player come back, yes, there's a little bit of rust, but I didn't see more rust on him than I did the other players, which makes me go, okay, this was from us not playing, not so much his injury. Because if you look, we went 10 for 31 from 3. So looking at how bad he shot the 3 only tells part of the story. Like, we were atrocious from three-pointer. We were 17% at one point in the game. The big old number came up on the screen, and all of us gasped when we saw 17% from 3, in the watch party. So you got to look and go, okay, there was a lot of rust. Jalen Brunson missed 2 easy layups, like that all of us were like, are you kidding me? My 5-year-old can make that, we were so upset, so there was a lot of rust that we saw. So when I look at where OG struggled and I then look at where OG succeeded, he still came up with 13 points at the end of the night. He had just as many points as Karl Anthony Towns did, and Karl's been healthy the whole series. And so, yes, his shooting was off, but his free throws were on point. He still pulled down 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. And I got to give credit where it's due. A lot of content creators, they will see something somewhere else and they'll regurgitate it as their own information. I will never do that. So I'm going to give a shout out to my guy, DJ Ace on Twitter, because he has a way of bringing up certain things that make you look at the game maybe a little bit differently than you did the night before as a fan, because he goes back and he rewatches to be able to pull these things out. So he pointed this out in a video, and I want to share the video because sometimes we get so caught up in the score, how many points that player, contributed to the win or that loss, that we don't actually look at the other ways that they really contributed. And it makes us miss some of the great things that were happening. So I'm thankful for others that pull that out. So let's watch this video, and it will actually show the contribution that OG made, which someone who's really, really struggling with an injury wouldn't be able to do. And if he is still struggling, he was able to do this and still do it in excellence. So that gives me hope for when he's not so hurt in the rest of the series. So this is all the ways that OG Anunoby locked down Jarrett Allen, from posting up, from getting rebounds. And when we were having trouble scoring, the reason it didn't get completely blown out of the water was because OG kept them from certain opportunities of second chance points. So let's watch this video and just see. And this is actually why I believe Jarrett Allen did not see the floor in the last few minutes of that fourth quarter. I mean, in that overtime, was because he was inefficient because of what OG was doing. So let's watch this real quick.
Upper shot, in and out.
Whoops. What the heck? Try again.
Harden dribbles, steps back, forces up a shot, in and out.
Box out.
Mitchell.
Another box out.
Rebound. Harden, three-pointer.
Another one.
So that's a low base. That's somebody with a bat with like a messed up ham. He's not getting low like that.
Exactly.
And jumping for it.
And jumping for it. Yep.
All the things that he did to keep Jarrett Allen from being productive. Like, look at this. Like, every single time Allen tried to do something. And if you look at the series in Detroit, Jarrett Allen was very dominant. Like,
yeah, he was.
OG kept him at bay throughout the whole game. Like, it's absolutely incredible to see everything that he did.
The other thing that you can look at is his minutes played. He played 34 minutes. So to me, that shows that they're not worried about his load, right? So otherwise they would have, kept him under 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
And Mike Brown loves to run it up with OG. Like he loves every lineup combination. He wants OG out there. So like, not touching that.
All right.
Not touching that.
After last night, I do want to say to all the people in the offseason and last season and start of this season, when I said that we had to get rid of Tibbs and we had to move on and we had to give Mike Brown the keys, and all y'all who said, I don't know ball because of that statement.
I'm telling you, bro.
I was with you
last night. He pressed some buttons. He's been pressing some buttons this whole playoffs. I mean, like, the guy we thought last night was going to be a huge advantage for us, Mitchell Robinson, he didn't really establish his dominance in the normal way. And I don't know what it was. Was it the Hack-a-Mitch thing, like that brutal stretch where they just kept going to it and Mike Brown left him out there? What was it? I'm not sure. But I do know that whatever conversation was had with OG Anunoby to be like, it's your job to get a body on Jarrett Allen, that's a whole team decision. That's like all this stuff is and finding the weak spot by running a 5-out offense with Landry Shamet. That's another Mike Brown reacting to the game and understanding that I don't have to stick to a template. Like Clarkson and Alvarado also did not have great games last night, but the Knicks played 9 dudes in a playoff game. So this is just a different experience, and it's like all the stuff that makes it feel frustrating during the regular season, the dividends are paid now.
Yep.
And he only is OG.
Hold up, Apollo. I want to read this off real quick. Yesterday's game, okay? OG Anunoby, 34 minutes. Josh Hart, 30. Carl, 40. McHale, 42. Jalen, 46. For our starters, this is the highest number of minutes they've played all playoffs in a game, okay? And that's because it was so close. But a lot of times we would see those all be last season in the 46 to 48 mark in a game like yesterday. Mike Brown also
that stuff would have been happening in January, Phil. It would have been happening in January, February.
Yep. And also last night's game, Mitchell Robinson, 14 points. 14 minutes. Miles McBride, 16 minutes. Jordan Clarkson, 16 minutes. Jose Alvarado, 6.5 minutes. Landry Shamet, 17.5 minutes. That is insane to see how many players contributed to that win last night, because all of those players were needed at the times where Mike Brown brought them in to get back into the game and win. And we're going to talk about those pieces in a minute. But Apollo, go ahead and say what you were going to say.
No, just real quick. I was just going to say OG took that defensive assignment on, I guess, a bum hamstring, and he still in 4.5 quarters only had 3 fouls. You know what I mean? So he's such a great defender, and what he does, I think it really goes unsaid how important he is to what our potential is, at the end of the road. So shout out to OG, bro. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure. All right. So next topic, try to get another 1 or 2 in for Doug before he goes. So I'm not really concerned moving forward, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about Mike Brown right now. All right. That's one topic we all wanted to talk about, was giving flowers where they're due. Okay. So a lot of people look and they're like, oh man, this is where he made the right decision. This is where, but these are decisions that you wouldn't have seen last year, such as bringing in Shamet, in those last few minutes where he made those incredible 3-pointers to help us, actually pull this away. But also making the decision to sit Josh Hart. Okay. This is a guy that last playoffs played every freaking minute of every single game. They were talking about it last night, how he averaged like 47 minutes in the playoffs last year. Like insane, whether it was a good game or a bad game. How many times were we like, why is Josh Hart still out there? Not that he's a good player, but he should not be playing 48 minutes in a game that needs scoring, or in a game where they're dominating us on in the paint, defense. But Mike Brown made those changes last night. And a game that looked like it was done, like absolutely done at the 5-minute mark in the fourth quarter. He makes even more changes right before that. And all of a sudden, the Knicks have one of the most historic come-from-behind playoff victories of all time. So what is your thoughts, Al, on Mike Brown and what we're seeing from him right now in the playoffs? Because I haven't seen coaching like this from the Knicks since those 94, teams where we had a roster that we saw bloom and smart decisions being made. But this is the first time since then I've been this excited to see what the coach is doing. So what are your thoughts, Al?
There's a kudos to him, man. But he's been actually doing it all year. Like, remember during the regular season when McHale was bumming it, he would bench McHale and he would play whoever was playing well. And then even in the first round, when was it the first round when Deuce wasn't playing well, and we needed to bring in Alvarado, right? Like we needed to bring in another ball handler. Oh no, it was Shamet. Shamet wasn't playing well. They benched Shamet, went to Alvarado so we could have another ball handler off the bench. He made that pivot, right? And then now he's making the pivot off of Josh Hart. So like, and that's a move. Those are moves that like Tibbs wouldn't have made, but Mike Brown has shown the confidence to make those moves, and they've been the right buttons to push. And it's a kudos to him, because a lot of people think that it's very easy to just, take someone out of the starting lineup or bench someone. You actually have to deal with real ramifications of doing that to these guys, because they have like, if you bench them, they have like real issues with that. They have their own emotions tied into it. This is their livelihood. So you also have to make sure you keep your locker room together. And he has been able to do that. All 15 guys seem to be bought into their roles, and they're ready to come in and whenever they are called upon. So that's all a kudos to Mike Brown.
Yo, that's such a good point, because last year, especially if you were in Twitter Spaces, you had the Tom Thibodeau Karens, that even when you would bring up, hey, our locker room is having issues. Like our guys are saying things in post-game interviews. They're saying things to the media, like where there's smoke, there's got to be a fire, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? This is, professional sports. Every team's got those things. Every team, has people that are talking in the media. There's dysfunction in every locker room. And what happened this year? We made that trade. There was some of that talk early with Kat in the interviews. And then McHale comes out and says, we just need to buy in to what's going on here. Like, we all need to buy in. And once we saw them actually buy in, there's been not a single peep. Matter of fact, some of the guys who were talking like Kat are now talking about the coaching decisions of Mike Brown. And so it was like the chitter chatter that y'all were trying to use to say, see, it happens with every coach. No, the players ended up taking responsibility and saying, all right, we're bought in now, and we got to give praise where it's due. And they're bigging each other up. They're bigging up the coaching staff. They're bigging up Mike Brown. Why? Because when a coach leads that way and people are like, well, then why aren't they doing it? That's a coaching thing. I said, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And people are like, yeah, you can. You're the coach. I'm like, okay, do me a favor. Grab a horse, take them to water, and then tell me how you're going to make that horse drink. Because when you force it and you get freaking horse kicked in the freaking stomach, like then tell me how I don't know ball. Like you can't force it to do anything. Like this isn't Coach Carter where he can just put the chains on the door and be like, "We're not playing until you listen to me." Like, Adam Silver's really going to allow that to happen. All right, Doug, what are your thoughts on Mike Brown?
Well, I already said what I thought in the song that I put out in July. I like Mike Brown. But I think specifically in the playoffs, like let's view it through the lens of last night's game. So initially they tried to do the thing that worked so well in the Atlanta series and worked so well in the Philly series, but it worked especially well in the Atlanta series, which was run the pinch post actions around Cat. And Cleveland did a phenomenal, not good, phenomenal job of moving off the ball defensively and denying entry passes from the high post for Cat. Phenomenal. So then Mike Brown goes to Mitchell Robinson, completely gets cooked by the Hack-a-Mitch situation.
Yep.
Again, Kenny Atkinson, very prepared, very well prepared. But then Mike Brown had this relationship with Landry Shamet. And he's had this relationship with Landry Shamet since he got here. He's like, there's something about Landry Shamet. I don't care about Malcolm Brogdon. I don't care about who was the other shooter they had. Garrison Matthews.
Garrett Matthews.
Yeah. I don't care about those guys. There's something about this dude Shamet that I'm obsessed with. And he knows that Shamet has not made an impact on the playoffs. And he knows that Shamet is the type of guy that he gets attention and he gets minutes by just playing like his hair is on fire. So he was like, this team is dead in the water. Josh Hart is shrinking the floor and making bad decisions with the basketball. We're not able to run off the pinch post like we were able to do because, frankly, Cat doesn't have an advantage on Evan Mobley. He doesn't really have that's a defensive player of the year candidate that's guarding him. So you bring Shamet in, you spread the floor, number one. Number two, Shamet wants to play. He is desperate for minutes. So he came in, he got over screens, he knocked down shots. I think he even drew a really big charge, if I'm not mistaken, or some kind of offensive foul down the stretch when the Knicks were trying to make that final push. So it's a lot of credit to Mike Brown that even you're down 22 points in the fourth quarter, you're still rifling through your options and your different looks and your versatility. You're not hammering your head into the wall over and over again and try to make the same thing work. So, and then what starts to happen is because McHale Bridges was playing so well and because Landry Shamet kept finding himself wide open, who's getting to isolate and score 15 in the fourth quarter when you're trying to make a push? You know who I'm talking about. Rick Brunson's son. Everything you do has got to be legit. So I'm talking about we haven't seen Jalen Brunson get to that one-on-one cookery. And Dean Wade had to switch when McHale Bridges would set a high screen because McHale Bridges was cooking. So this is all cascading effects. The way you get Jalen Brunson in one-on-one situations in the fourth quarter is you set up other options earlier. And Mike Brown did, even though it got really hairy and we were all really nervous, he put the Knicks in a position to make that last push. And because Jalen Brunson is Jalen Brunson and because Landry Shamet is so hungry to get back in the rotation, it worked.
Facts. I mean, me personally, with the Mike Brown thing is I've been really just trying to watch the difference that has been because everybody was so, everybody's like, yeah, we got to get Tibbs out of here. And I was with them. I was with everybody too. So, but my thing was, who are we going to bring in here and how much of an impact is he going to make right away? And one of the main things that I didn't like about Tibbs, since we're on the topic, I don't really like talking negatively about him. But one of the things that did frustrate me in last year's playoffs, I'll say that, in last year's playoffs is his refusal to make in-game adjustments properly. Sometimes he makes good game-to-game adjustments, and I noticed that. He made really good game-to-game adjustments, but in-game, he didn't really make the adjustments the way that you're seeing Mike Brown make right now. Like there was times last night where we're in the zone, times where we're running different sets, different guys at certain people. Then it was at one point they tried to run through Cat. They tried to go through Cat and putting the ball in his hands and try to make plays. They were running flex screens and things like that. So when you start to see that, I'm like, all right, that's a guy throwing things at the wall and seeing what's going to stick. And eventually something stuck, and it allowed Jalen Brunson to put his foot on the gas and just take off. So, that was the main thing that I was like, well, this team knows how to play. They know how to win. These guys are not young kids. What kind of coach is going to come in here and make them a championship caliber team? You know what I mean? And what kind of adjustments can he make in game that we weren't able to make? There was a lot of those games last year in the playoffs that I believe we could have won personally, especially in that Pacers series. But you know what I mean? There was just so many moves that he just didn't want to make for certain whatever reason. And then he doesn't like to listen to guys. And I shout out to Mike Brown for allowing Chris Gent to step in and give his input, because that's something that you really got to give him. Shout out to Chris Gent as well, because we're giving a lot of credit to Mike Brown, and Chris Gent is a big part of what goes on in that locker room. So, you know what I mean? I don't want to glaze too much, but he deserved it. You know what I mean? He earned it. The way they pull that game out, man. And like I said, if he didn't make those adjustments, you weren't going to be able to have Jalen Brunson have the kind of game that he had last night.
Can I just say one quick thing of just following up on what Apollo just said? I'll say, as a musician who's like a veteran of doing this, I don't like it when band leaders like are over my shoulder telling me do this, do that, do this, do that. Mm-hmm. When I play my best music is when my band leaders are like, I trust your taste, I trust your ability. And I think Mike Brown is a coach who sees his locker room full of decorated veterans who have achieved a lot in the league, who have made it far in the playoffs. And he says, we're going to try this, and this as a framework, but you guys got it. And I think with this group, it really works.
Yeah. And I think, I think that is what makes the difference between what we saw last year, the year before, all that time with Tib, and now is Tibbs saw the veterans that were there and his hands-off mentality of like, they got it, well, okay, but no, there still needs to be some kind of direction, like even professional dancers have to have choreography to succeed, like, yes, they're going to do things with their own flair, with their own skills. They have to have the skills to be able to achieve that choreography. But if there's no direction and you just play a beat, for 6 different dancers and say, you guys got this performance, go do it, and they're out there and it's like, this one's pop locking, this one's like windmill kick to the face of the other one. The other one's just like twerking it out in the corner. And you're just like, what is happening? It doesn't work, so Mike Brown is able to be like, all right, so our dancing's been best when we let Cat twerk in the paint. So let him twerk in the paint.
What's so funny about this to me is that like what the Knicks offense was. I hate that it's just too funny to say this stuff about Tibbs. The Knicks offense was everybody standing around clapping and Jalen Brunson breaking in the middle by himself.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
He's doing the Carlton in the middle.
Perfect analogy.
He's doing the Carlton.
So, it is what it is.
That's hilarious.
So I'm excited to see that Mike Brown allows the players to have their identity, but to realize that their identity is not the sole thing of the New York Knicks. Just because you have certain skill sets and you do this well, that does not mean that everyone needs to like bow the knee to you. Like there's other people with other skill sets, which is why we saw certain things like, days of Obi Toppin running great in the open court, but yet then we never saw it after it worked. It was like those things, you had to be the player that he wanted you to be or it didn't work. So he got us as far as he could, and I salute him for that. It was great. But Mike Brown has showed us this is what it looks like when you trust your skill sets as a coach and you trust your team. There has to be that mutual understanding of I trust you, but I need you to trust me. Like, this is my role. This is your role. Have you guys seen the movie GOAT?
I just watched that with my daughters tonight, like just before I left the house.
Great. The transition happened when the all-star player, finally gave up her whistle and said, I'm going to let the coach be the coach. Like, I know what I can do. I know I'm the star, but I know I need to be coached. And she handed over the whistle. And I feel like that's exactly what it was. Tibbs always had his stars, whether it was Julius Randle at one time or whether it was Jalen Brunson. His stars had the coaching whistle, and everybody played second fiddle to that. But now Mike Brown is actually coaching, and we're seeing it in real time, and it's beautiful to watch because some of those adjustments he made last night seriously solidified the game. Like, if Josh Hart was out there, I truly believe we go into game 2 down 0-1. Like, that's just the bottom line. That's just the truth. So one more topic before we let Doug go and do what he's got to do, because he starts at 10, so he's got to like plug in all that fun stuff. But let's talk real quick about the turnaround. A lot of people are like, this is where Jalen Brunson turned it on. Like, it was because of Jalen Brunson. And I agree. But I saw this interview real quick by one of our players that really brought to light that we can't just go off of what we think we know, because there's a lot more to it that we don't, and we might miss where credit is actually due. So I'm going to play an interview real quick by Miles McBride. He was asked about the turning point in the game. So Deuce McBride and who he gives credit to for part of that turnaround in the fourth quarter. And it might shock you if you haven't seen the interview on what he says. So here we go. Share my screen.
I haven't seen it, but I think I know who he's going to say.
So here we go. Ready?
That's a pro setup, Phil.
What happened?
I just said that was a pro setup.
Oh, thank you. All right, here we go.
Flip switched midway through that fourth quarter. What was that switch?
I mean, honestly, I got to shout out Jose. Jose was just on the whole game, talking to everybody, keeping us engaged, even if we weren't out there. But, he mainly talked to a lot of the starters, and he really just got them going.
Flip switch.
Oh, you have the guy who played 6 minutes, and it may make you go, he only played 6 minutes. Like, he wasn't the difference maker. Like, what did Jose contribute last night? 6 minutes, only had 4 points, 1 rebound. Like, he didn't really contribute. But you have Miles McBride saying that all throughout the game, and especially in the fourth quarter, Jose was going up to each and every player and talking to them, working with them on what he sees, encouraging them. That is veteran presence.
Facts.
Like, that is a veteran presence that made a huge impact on last night's game. And not only is he talking, but he's obviously got the ears of the players. Players like Miles McBride, who actually had his numbers kind of go down at first when Alvarado came, where people were now saying maybe McBride is expendable because Alvarado's here. And he's the guy that's using his post game to say the turnaround was Jose. Like, that's huge to me. So what do you guys think of the turnaround? We could talk about both Jalen Brunson in that fourth, looking way better than he did in the rest of the game. But also, how important it is for the team to stick together like Jose did. I'll go with you first, Doug, because I know you got to get ready to go.
So there's a lot to chew on there. I'll start with the Alvarado point, which is so interesting, and Deuce is the man for shining a light on that. I love Deuce as a culture guy for this team. He's been here for so long, and he just has such respect for the game and has worked so hard on his own craft that, like, when he calls it out in another player, it means a lot. So I think back to the first time that Alvarado suited up for the Knicks against the Celtics, and there was that little conversation on mic'd up between him and Jalen Brunson, and Alvarado's like, where do you like the ball? And Brunson's like, you'll see. And there were a lot of really cynical people online that were like, Jalen Brunson's telling him, give me the ball and get out of the way. And I'm like, no, like you have no sense of the way that these two men like respect the game of basketball and the way they convey that in that conversation. Because what was happening was Jose Alvarado's like showing up first day. He's like, I want to win. And I want to know how my best player likes to do that. And that is what he has been about. Like when he comes and he gets his minutes, sometimes he's just like a little undersized and it doesn't work. Sometimes he provides the exact spark that they need. And last night you saw him up off the bench, observing the game, creating a culture where guys are not thinking about, I want to do this, I want to do that. But like he's looking out for players individually and seeking them out and saying, here's a matchup that you can take advantage of. Here's a tendency that you can watch out for. So that's all like basketball team culture stuff that no statistic can capture. Like nothing, like you can't, like if you want to be a real winner, that stuff has to, sorry, can you guys hear that siren so freaking
You're good, you're good. We can hear that.
We're from New York. We're from New York, bro. We're good.
You're used to it, right? Sounds like nothing. But here, I'll just let this dude drive by. Salute, New York's bravest. Let's go. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, like you need culture guys that, especially when there's a Knicks team that there's been chatter about like certain guys want more shots and we want to do more of this and more of that, be on the ball more, et cetera, et cetera. If there's a veteran player who's like, yo, I'm here and I'm excited to be here whether I'm playing or not. Like I'm excited to be in this historic arena with these insane fans with the opportunity to make history. This team that I've grown up watching. So like that's what Jose Alvarado is. It's just out of it was the FDNY. It was an FDNY ambulance. So that's number one. And I think when you have a guy on the like, let's say that if it's somebody else, not Jose Alvarado, and they're just like picking their nose, like staring out, and you know, somebody like, oh look, you know, Edie Falco's here. That's cool. Instead of being like, yo, McHale, did you see like he's dropping off of you when you go right? Like, so you can hit that fadeaway shot, like you're going to your right, like whatever it was that he was saying, like that, it makes a huge difference, especially when you're down so big and the arena is so anxious. So that's number one. And number two, like, I just think that once the team accepted that the three ball was not going down and the rust was extremely real, like, and the advantage was through getting Brunson the ball, and like for whatever reason James Harden was just being repeatedly left out to die. Like the Knicks knew that there were 20,000 people. Like let's put it this way: 20,005 people that could make that Cleveland Cavaliers group completely get the jitters. Because like, okay, so here's the and I'm just gonna cook a little bit longer just because I have to go. But the Cavaliers have weaknesses defensively on the wing. Isaac Okoro is not here. DeAndre Hunter is not here. So like you have to work your way towards that weakness. And the Knicks were able to really do a good job of that late in the game. And then that's why you're in this position where it's like they also don't have another initiator, they being Cleveland. They don't have another offensive initiator besides James Harden. Like, do you want Donovan Mitchell to be your playmaker with like inside of 2 minutes in a close game? Or do you want James Harden to be your playmaker? Like, I don't blame Kenny Atkinson for leaving James Harden out there like to get fried, because there's no way for them to run that offense. Like you saw, like as soon as the Knicks cut it to 17, Donovan Mitchell threw it into the 10th row. Like that's the opponent you're dealing with. Like they're a front running opponent. They're a very talented opponent, but like you can make them nervous. So like this Knicks team did a really good representative job last night of being like, and it starts with Alvarado and Jalen Brunson. You're like, we are a mentally tough team in the highest pressure market in the world. All the eyes are on us. Like we can flip the energy in this building, and these dudes are not going to be able to handle it. So it just was awesome. It was like, because I'll just close with this. Clyde Frazier was on the Roommates podcast. Maybe it was over the summer. And he said what I love about Clyde is he will never sugarcoat anything. And
Yeah.
Always. And he looked Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, arguably the two biggest like superstars in terms of like what kids in New York City, what jerseys do they wear? They wear Hart and Brunson. Like he looked them both in the eye and he was like, that energy in the Garden, like you guys haven't really done anything with it yet. Like you don't really know, like you haven't really flipped that energy on in the Garden on an opponent in a big situation yet.
Mm.
And they did that last night. They did that last night in like the biggest game that this team has played since 1999. So like it was like I pinched myself. Like I can't believe after all the stuff I've seen in 35 years of watching this team, like that's it. That's what Clyde was talking about.
Yeah, I agree. You know, last night was, I think, a real big turning point for the Knicks in this playoff series. I think that since that turn in the Hawks series, it's been on the trajectory up and up. But the one thing we have not proven yet is, can we come back from that giant deficit? Like, we've allowed teams to come back from that deficit, but can we? You know, can we have our backs up against the wall and not give up, not get deflated, not allow us to like look and go, hey, maybe next game, you know, like, can we grind it out and find a way? And we prove that we can, which makes me think that the ceiling has been blown off for this team. Like, I don't believe that there's a cap of what this team is capable of now. Once you go to battle with somebody, things are different. You know, you think of like growing up, the first time like you're on the playground and someone talks about your sibling or talks about, you know, your close friend, and you're like, all right, these guys are coming up to us. This is going to make us closer than ever. Like, there's no turning back after this moment, you know? Like, once you go to war with somebody, that closeness is deeper, and it's going to be even harder to come up against. And I think that that's what we experienced last night with our guys. So,
fellas, I got to jump, but I just want to say that this was so great, and what a great conversation, what a great flow. And thank you all. Yeah, it's great. I really appreciate you guys, man. It's awesome.
To you, man.
You're welcome.
Yo, before you go, Doug, plug that track, man. Plug that track.
Yeah.
Oh, so I thank you, Al, for setting that up. I just released a track like right after we beat Atlanta, called One City with my band MFAEMEFE. It's Doug Lust featuring MFA, One City, and it's just an anthem, a dedication to living in New York and loving the Knicks, and like the relationship between those two things, like being a New Yorker, loving the Knicks, it's almost one thing. It's one city. It's one identity. It's one world that we all live in. So check it out. DUGLUSC on all platforms. I'm going to just keep putting out more original music, but I think this song's about the hopes and the dreams of this fan base. So One City. And I appreciate the plug, Al. I appreciate that a lot.
No doubt. Love
Apollo,
the song, by the way.
Al, Phil,
Salute.
much love. You guys are awesome.
Yo,
man.
rock out tonight, bro.
Yeah.
Peace,
Good
guys.
thing, man. Peace, bro.
That's our guy, Doug Lust, one of the most talented guys in the Knicks community. And I'm getting ready. I'm excited, guys. All right. So I'm about to play a little bit of this J Boogie track, and then we're going to invite our guest, Ryan Lentz, up. So Ryan is part of a bourbon brand called River Roots Barrel Company. And I first got wind of them from a friend and got some samples. And I was like, yo, this is good. Who are these guys? And he's like, yo, they're newer. They're out of Cleveland. I know, boo, Cleveland. You know, so he's, you know, had me taste some samples. Then I purchased one from a few honey barrels that they had put out. I bought one called the Stinger or something like that. And it was absolutely delicious. Then I bought one solely because it had a picture of Popeye on it. And if you guys know anything about me, like, I'm a huge Popeye guy. So my guy Dan Pope put out a bottle that had Popeye on the front. And I was like, I need that. So I traded for that immediately because when I had cancer as a kid, I would watch Popeye. And that would give me like the determination to keep fighting when I was feeling sick. So like I bought that bottle immediately because I knew it was going to be delicious juice, but also because it had that personal attachment with it. So I connected with Ryan and I was like, yo, I want you guys on the show. And they were actually supposed to be on the show a while ago, but he had something come up the day of the show and was like, dude, I'm sorry, not going to be able to do it today. Like, can we reschedule? I was like, I don't have any open dates until the playoffs. And he's like, that's fine, man. Just throw something out there. So I threw out a random date, believing that we were going to be this far into the playoffs. And he was like, all right, yeah, lock me in for then. Not knowing that we were going to be playing the Cleveland Cavaliers. And he is a Cavalier fan. So I'm excited to talk with Ryan because of, you know, the delicious juice that we will be tasting. But when it comes to him being a Cavalier fan, all right, so let's sample this track real quick, and then we're going to bring him up. This is my guy, Jay Boogie's new song featuring my guy, Apollo Reed. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio when I start it because it's streaming.
And there's a bunch of other artists on there as well. So shout out to everybody else.
Yeah, I think Lefty is on here.
Apollo, when do you go? You go second?
I'll go second. Yeah.
Okay.
I think left, Drugs Only. Yeah, Zeus, Skyzoo.
Yep, Skyzoo I know is going to be a beast. So here we go. We're not going to play the whole thing because it's 10 minutes and 32 seconds long. We're going to play and hear Apollo rap. All right, here we go.
They want to know, can we handle the pressure? Take a certain type baller that can handle the pressure. When the game's on the line, who built for the pressure? Can you make the big shots when the game is under pressure? New York City! You know the city where we rockin'. Where we at? This is Madison Square Garden. We got the best fans watching. Now it's time to get it poppin'. Big moments get made when under pressure. Building so electric, plugged in like a Tesla. It's for the city, the squad. They know we all in the Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, Staten, and Brooklyn. The new season where the playoffs start. This the playoff squad. MSG, Madison Square Garden. Sold out traffic over the Midtown. It's that fast break, Josh Hart after the rebound. Play of the game, photo Tims and wealth. I'm about to call a paparazzi man on myself. That Nick tape, really, now where the love go? I knew you was a spy in the cover, being a bozo. A Nick fan for life, I do a life sentence. You give a take on your squad, that's a life sentence. I'm in my Billy Joe, New York Knicks state of mind. Championship for the city, now it's go time. They want to know, can we handle the pressure? Take a certain type baller that can handle the pressure. When the game's on the line, who built for the pressure? Can you make the big shots when the game is under pressure? New York City! You know the city where we rockin'. This is Madison Square Garden. We got the best fans watching. Now it's time to get it poppin'.
They already knowing the stakes, let's make it well done. Don't really hold grudges, but we held one from last year. No matter the enemy, they won't last here. Mike Brown got him moving in fast gear. End of the season, but the job ain't done. Send Bodega to the basket while his screen man won. I recommend you to say JB in the clutch. Coast to coast, if you ain't got the heart, then you on the dust.
In the clutch, you know what's up for the city. It's chip or bust, applying pressure every trip in the garden. Yo, it's a must. Brunson cooking in the fourth. Got the handle and poise. Cross you over mid-range, fade, silence the noise. Got the garden going nuts on everything in Captain Truck. Total package on the go from shooting threes to slam and dunk.
All right. So shout out to my guy Apollo. Killed it on that. Shout out to our guy Jay Boogie. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Knicks and the Cavaliers. Why not talk with a guy who is a Cavalier fan? I want to know how it feels to feel the weight of that fourth quarter and that overtime. But before we do, we'll start light with some whiskey talk. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up our guy, Ryan Lentz. But I will let you guys know that, yes, because he is from the opposing team, this is now technically an enemy territory episode. All right, we are stepping into enemy territory right now. Support the whiskey. Don't support the bad Knicks take. He's got to have some grace. Once you taste the whiskey, you'll forgive him, I promise. So without further ado, what up, Ryan?
What up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, he got his jersey on and everything.
Yeah, I got it. Hey, man.
Got a salute, man.
Man, I'm enemy territory for sure. Listen to all you guys talk. I mean, yeah.
I know it hurts.
Can't wait to get into the details about that a little bit more. But yeah, we can start off with whiskey, start off with the light stuff, and then get into the heavy stuff.
Yeah. I'll bring the high proof takes in a little bit. All right. This whole episode is about to be hazmat, brother. So, all right. So, first of all, Cleveland. All right. Like whiskey and Cleveland. Those are things that you don't normally hear side by side. Even when I lived in Ohio, I lived in Ohio for a little bit when I got married to my wife, and we lived in Columbus. And I never would have thought, hey, let's go to Cleveland to find some whiskey. At that time, it wasn't happening. But that's something I never would have thought. So let me know, like, how this whole River Roots thing came about. Like, tell people, the difference between like how you guys get your whiskey and where the experimentation all started. But like, where did this brand come from in the random place called Cleveland?
Yeah, so you're right. Like, usually you don't equate Cleveland with whiskey. But really it started, I got into whiskey 2013, 2014 and just geeked out, right? Like started off, it actually started with the makers and an Elmer T. Lee, because I read on the website that Elmer T. Lee is supposed to be good. And I was like, oh, I like Elmer T. Lee. And then it started to go down the rabbit hole. And my kind of personality is like, once I find something, I usually like dive into it. So from 2014 on, I really geeked out and like bought all sorts of whiskey and, went on the secondary market and collected all sorts of stuff. Went down to Kentucky multiple times, did Whiskey Pig and Bourbon Bonanza and Kentucky Bourbon Festival, just like total consumer, purchasing all sorts of whiskey, tasting the best whiskey, bourbon in the world. And then also I was a part of the Cleveland Bourbon Club, and we did like 50 different private barrel picks and stuff like that, which I thought was really cool. So over the course of, I don't know, a decade, I built up a palate and, really as a consumer understood what was good whiskey and really understood, single barrels and like finishing whiskey and how that was up and coming. So there was actually one of the other owners of the company. He's actually a brewer, makes beer in the Cleveland area. And he approached me probably in like 2021, 2022. He's like, hey, I got this investor that wants to open a brewery and distillery. And I was like, nah, man, you don't want to do a distillery. Like, you don't want to make your own, like, you make it and then you just cross your fingers and 4 to 6 years that you got good whiskey. What you want to do is you want to source it and try to find like the really good stuff. So he's like, hey, you mind building a business plan? So I built a business plan, and one of the other owners and was a part of the Cleveland Bourbon Club, he knew Michael Simon. For those that don't know Michael Simon, he's a celebrity chef, and he wanted to get into the whiskey business. So the business plan that I built previously that didn't work out for that other investor then became, well, let's pitch this to Michael Simon in the group, and they liked it, and boom, here's River Roots. And really what it is, it's legit geek factory of whiskey. It's coming from a person that's geeked out and kind of knows where the good distilleries are and what the barrels you want to get, and you want to get that hazmat. You want to, you want to get as old as age as possible from good distilleries and stuff like that. But also, we also try to find just cool shit that, there's so much MGP and particular stuff that you can get, right? So we also try to have fun with it too and get some good whiskey from distilleries that might not be as known, or like do some fun experiments like the honey barrel that I think you referenced earlier. We've done some triple oaks and double oaks. We're just, again, it's kind of like a whiskey enthusiast geek company where we're just literally bringing in the best barrels that we can possibly find in the market and then making it available. And the last thing I'll say about River Roots, which is another cool thing, is our labels are customizable. So the cool thing is you can taste a variety of different barrels that we have, single barrels that we have. And we make sure that groups or companies or whoever's doing barrel picks with us, it's not like, oh, well, River Roots has this whiskey, this mash bill, this this age and this proof, and that's what you get to select from. Nah, like you come to Cleveland, or if you work with us, we'll send you samples. We have different lots of all sorts of stuff. So we strive on having variability within our lot. So, what some persons might not be favorite lot might be another person's favorite lot, right? So we make it very flexible and fluid with our barrels and stuff like that. And our labels are very customizable, like I was saying. So, people can have fun with the label and make that experience even better for them. Sorry, that was long-winded, but that's the story of River Roots.
No, I love it. Like for me, one thing that we've noticed a lot is a lot of the independent bottlers, do start from whiskey societies, and that's why, I love being part of our Tampa Bay Whiskey Society as well as, the Lakeland Whiskey Society, because you get to learn a lot, like just as friends, trying things, enjoying things. And so, a few weeks ago we had Circle City on, same thing, like just a bunch of guys that were in a society, started picking barrels together. And all of a sudden they were like, we can actually do this. Like, let's do this. And so I love seeing that from you guys. I saw Al wanted to pipe in and say something. So Al, I'll let you go before I ask the next question.
I was just gonna ask more of like a leading question, but we don't have to get into it. I'm sure the info is like on the site somewhere, but I'm very keen on, eventually doing a pick like that. So I just want to know like minimum requirements and all that kind of stuff. Like everybody's varies. Some people are like 75 bottles. Other people want more. I've heard of other people say like half a barrel, as low as half a barrel. But I was interested in that kind of stuff, that kind of information.
Yeah.
I can jump in. So, it all depends on the barrel. Like usually the older the whiskey, the lower the bottle yield and stuff. We have some whiskey now that's 8 years old from a really cool, very, what would I say, iconic distillery that I can't say. But the whiskey inside, there's different finishes that we have. Some's wheated bourbon that was finished in Chardonnay barrels. And we have some other whiskey that was rye that was finished in rum. And I think we already sold out. We only had 2 barrels of the brandy. Anyways, but the yields are really high. So like we allow half barrels of that, which is 125 barrels. Now, we also are able to work with the group and just say like, all right, man, so you want to take 50 or you want to take 75. All that we ask is you just find another partner that takes the other 75 or whatever. Okay. Then we're good, right? It's as long as we're happy to work with our customers to get you that barrel, and knowing that sometimes a full barrel allotment is just too big of a leap for some groups. It's like, no, that's cool. Like if you can find a partner that wants to get in stat, like go with you, we're all for it, man. Absolutely.
Okay.
I love that. That's what's up. Yeah, we've talked about a lot, like, with the development of this show continuing to grow, wanting to pick some of our own barrels for the show and kind of have them available for our viewers. So that's why we always love to see how each brand does things. All right, so we have a policy.
We have a policy, though. Sorry, guys. We have a policy. No Knicks stuff on our label.
Oh, gotcha. Good whiskey, bad basketball. I forgot that was on the label. It's right there. I forgot. It's on every single one of your labels. Apologize. So, and I know that's not true because I've seen some, releases from you guys in Indiana and Orlando, and we're in the playoffs either. So it is what it is. We sell barrels to everybody. All right. So we got 4 variations here. Before we go talking about the game, do you have any preference on which you think we should try first? We got the Mocha Dark Horse. We got the Crime Scene. We got the Triple Oak 11, and we got the Haunted Head.
Yeah, good question. I can't remember the proofs. It's been so long since, I think you kind of set the stage about this is a long time coming. I would just, usually what I recommend to people is just go from lowest proof to highest, just climb that ladder.
All right, so the lowest, because these are all pretty high, which I'm excited about.
That's usually how we roll.
The low one is 115, and that's going to be the haunted head. So, so we'll break into that one first.
Yeah, let me
right there. And do you know where this one was released? Like,
hold on, I'm looking it up. I'm sorry, I should have been prepared about what I sent you all. Give me a sec. What does it say? Tell me the age on that one. This is a customer pick.
Yeah, this one's 12 years, 6 months.
12 years, 6 months. And what is the barrel code say on it?
The barrel number is XRRI 143.
That's an Indiana bourbon.
See, what did I tell you? I knew you sold to Indiana.
Yeah. Indiana, yeah. Luckily the Pacers, they got you guys last year. They struggle. They're on the struggle bus right now.
Yep.
You got that lottery pick though.
So which one is it that we're drinking first?
The haunted.
Yeah, the Indiana, a 12-year bourbon.
Haunted head.
Okay, HH.
Yep.
I think they lost their pick, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they did lose it. Right. They had
they did. All right, I got a few comments that I'm gonna read while you do that. My friend Don Million said, "Yo, Ryan, what were your thoughts at the 8-minute mark in the fourth quarter?" So you can think about that. You don't have to answer yet. This one's also cool. When you said I should have been prepared, we got Carbon Intellect said unprepared like Harden defense.
Oh man.
So,
Jesus.
Listen, I'm sorry on behalf of all of the Knicks fans that are going to have a field day in the comments.
It's our. I was actually thinking about this actual podcast as this was happening. I was just like, well, first I was very happy, and I was like, oh man. And then as this started to unfold, so as a Cleveland sports fan in general, there is no like, oh, we got this on lock, and also going through the last 2 series, nothing is locked with this team. They are so Jekyll and Hyde. It's amazing. And Harden has lost us games and won us games. And yeah, I mean, no. So 8 minutes when we're up by 20, it was less than that. It was like 6 minutes or something like that. We were up by 22.
Yep.
Wasn't it something like that? Like,
I think it was 7 minutes and something. It was in the 7 range. It
was wild. My son is 13, was freaking out, and I was just like, dude, you just gotta ride the wave, Barler. You just gotta ride the wave and see what happens.
Oh man,
Ryan,
poor kid.
Since you're in space, do you know Sherpaul 2-ounce whiskey?
Mm-mm.
No. All right, so he's like a big.
What's his Instagram name?
2-ounce whiskey. He's the one that's also
That
a
does
doctor.
sound familiar.
Okay, so he's like a viral content creator, but he also is a Cavs fan. Okay, and so the first episode of this season of the Knicks Nightcap, we had him on because our first game was going to be against you guys, and so he came on the episode, and at the end of the episode, we placed a wager on who would win the game. And he lost, so he had to send me a bunch of whiskey. But I was talking to him the other day, and it was funny because you guys were in the Detroit game, and I was like talking to him about, you guys, looking good with the lead, and he had very similar thoughts to what you just said about your team. So I want to share this because as soon as you said it, I started laughing because it was the same conversation him and I had the other day.
Oh yeah, I do know him. Yeah, he's in Columbus. Yes, we talked multiple times. Yeah.
So he said, I texted him and I said, you guys looked good that first game. He said, finally had the whole team healthy. And then so I said, oh snap, maybe seeing you guys in the Eastern Conference Finals. And he said, hold on, bucko. If anyone can blow a 20-point lead, it's this team. And so I was laughing and cracking up. And last night, when you guys started losing the lead, he continued that conversation. And he said, told you, LOL, no lead is safe with these Cavs. And so he said, everything that worked for 3 quarters. Yeah, let's stop doing that right now. It's the Cavs special. So
The Cavs
as soon as
special.
you said no lead is safe or anything can happen with the Cavs, it is a unanimous thought from Cavs fans. So, all right, guys, let's go in for this sip right here.
And actually, I was looking. I found my notes. Show me the label, Phil. I think it's a Indiana rye, not a bourbon. I think it's a green label. Yeah, that's a rye.
Straight rye. Yep.
Oh yeah, and that artwork was done by Tom Gray, one of the owners. His son drew that picture, which is pretty cool.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Yeah. So I think this is actually the only rye in the lineup. So
I tried to mix it up for you guys. So I think you have the 12-year Indiana rye. You have a 13-year Kentucky bourbon. You have a 10-year Kentucky bourbon, and then you have that triple oak experimental nerd thing that you probably saved that one for last because that one's that one that one bites.
So this one smells delicious. So I'm excited to try this rye. All right, let's go for it.
Yeah, the market recently has been really good on the Indiana ryes, high age, 95.5. Like, it's been interesting in my, drinking of whiskey, how it's kind of ebbed and flows. And I'm always going to love bourbon, but I love rye whiskey. I just like the uniqueness of it. Actually, I don't really drink beer or I don't drink wine. It's usually just whiskey. Maybe if I want something lighter, I'll get a cocktail. But I call rye whiskey like my summer cocktail or my summer drink, right? Like it kind of had like those herbal notes that you get from a rye whiskey. Just in my mind, in my taste buds, it's just like, all right, that's summer right there.
Yeah, no, I love rye. I feel like I love bourbon because it's the staples that we love, and different times you'll get different flavors, especially with the whole finishing era. But I feel like rye tends to be a lot more complex. You get different flavors that you're like, oh my goodness, what is this that I'm tasting? As opposed to like bourbon, like you put 8 bourbons on a table and you ask people what the tasting notes are, there's probably a good chance that 5 of them are going to have like, vanilla, caramel, maple, like that's going to be there. But with rye, it's very, very, very diverse. So, all right. So I'll let you go first this time, Al. What are your thoughts?
I thought the description was great from Ryan. It feels a little lighter. Feels like something you could drink. Like we're in Tampa, so something you can drink on a hot summer day. You get those traditional rye spices, a little light minty note, but not a heavy mint note, which is nice. Overall, I just think it's pretty well balanced. It's a really good pour. I like it a lot. What was the proof on this?
115 points.
Wow. It doesn't drink like a 115. It drinks like a 108 or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. What's your thoughts, Apollo?
I like it, man. It's really good. I'm actually strangely getting like a dark cherry kind of taste in there. It's of course you get a lot of the rye, you get a lot of that the spice with it. But right behind that is definitely like a dark cherry kind of tone to it. And I keep getting that every single time I take a sip. It's like the first thing, of course, before you start tasting the rye spice, I'm getting a cherry, like a dark cherry kind of taste in there. But this is really good. Like you said, it's a nice summertime kind of drink you can just sip on it. For sure.
I'm getting a little
clove. That's a good note. And whenever I have a whiskey that has like cherry or dark cherry or like cherry cola note, I'm like, that's it. Immediately. I'm like, I'm down for that.
What's crazy is I don't like cherry flavors when I get it, mostly in bourbons. Like some of them taste a little bit medicinal when I get some cherry notes in bourbons. But in Rise, it pairs so well with like the spice and everything like that I love it so much more. This one to me, this is a standout rye. I get cherry, but what I get is similar to what you were talking about, like cocktail. I get black cherry. So like, you know, like with cocktails, I have the constant maraschinos that I make with like old fashions, but then I buy these filthy black cherries for like cocktails that need a little bit of like sweetness that's a little less sweet, but like it's sweet enough, you know, like on a Black Manhattan or something like that. So I get the black cherry on that. I get my favorite note in all of in all of whiskey, which is leather. So I get leather notes. And then the other one that I get obviously the heavy oak influence. And it's a thick mouthful, but I also get some of that sweetness, kind of like, anyone ever been to Buc-ee's? Anyone been to a Buc-ee's?
Yeah. Buc-ee's.
Oh gosh. All right. So we travel all the time, and Buc-ee's is a constant stop and also like money sucker. It's like Disney World of gas stations. They even have like a caricature that you take pictures with of giant beaver. And so it was funny because the first year that our family was traveling full time, we stayed at this really awesome like resort campground. And my son at the time, he was 6. We were talking about like his favorite things, and he was like making a YouTube video about like his favorite things that he's done so far. And he goes, first favorite place we've been is Buc-ee's, and then this place. Like Buc-ee's had beaten all the other cool places we traveled to. But they sell like this whole area of fresh pecans, fresh almonds, fresh like cashews that are baked in like sugar. And they are absolutely delicious. So I get like those toasted sugar pecans notes in this, and that makes me absolutely love this pour. This is stand out.
I have a question for you guys. So do you guys ever like go back and smell the cup when like there's like almost nothing in it? Because right now, when I just went back and like when the juice was in there, I didn't get the cherry cola notes, but now it's like I can't stop smelling it, and it's like I don't have anything in the glass, but like I was like I had to tell you guys that before I poured something else in it. Yeah.
I was getting a fruit note before when I was just smelling it, and I didn't know what it was gonna be. But then as soon as I tasted it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting a dark cherry kind of a taste there.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
All right, so we're gonna talk a little basketball, because we have someone that watched the game as well. All right. So first half, pretty equal, pretty equal game of basketball. Third quarter, Cavs ran away with it. And honestly, up until the 6-minute mark, I'm talking with my guy, Chris, that put on the show last night. And I'm like, bro, this is painful to watch the last quarter and a half. Me and Al are standing next to another guy whose favorite word is 4 letters nonstop, because he's that upset. Like nothing else came out of his mouth. Like he'd be like talking, then something would happen. Like it was just like he'd have a regular conversation with us, then the Knicks would do something, and it was just like, and Al's baby was there, so like it was loud with frustration. And me and Al are looking at each other like, bro, what are we watching? What is happening? This is painful. And I'm getting texts from my uncle. And he's like, bro, this sucks. And I'm like, we gotta look forward to game 2. So I want to share this video right here. And this is my run that back moment. All right. Because I watched it this morning and I was like, oh gosh, like that's painful. So this is my run that back. All right. Because it deserves to be watched. All right, so I'm going to share this video with all of you guys because it is crazy what I saw. All right, so here we go. Take this off the screen. Boom. All right, I don't know if any of you guys have seen this video.
I saw this.
All right, so I'm going to blow this up. Apollo doesn't seem to have watched this yet. So this is rough. All right, so I kind of sympathize with this guy a little bit, But then I'm also like, bruh, you done messed up at the same time. So here we go.
I'm gonna own something and admit something because I'm the bigger man. I'm also a 42-year-old baby and a sore loser, and I'm just gonna own it because you got to do that. It was about, I don't know, 9 minutes left in the fourth, and I told my wife, let's get out of here. She's a diehard fan. I'm a diehard fan. We were there together, and look, it was two young kids, a lot of work going on, miserable, just a miserable game. And I just did not want to deal with 7th Avenue after a 20-plus point blowout, and I was a sore loser and really upset. And didn't look at my phone on the car ride, glanced at Twitter maybe 5-10 minutes into the cab ride, didn't want to get false hope, so didn't look at the score, and finally willed myself to look at ESPN and saw that it was going to overtime as we were pulling up to our building. I missed the best comeback in Knicks playoff history probably since I was alive. I deserve that for leaving. But you know what? I don't give a shit. This team just won. Jalen Brunson is incredible, and we should be so lucky to have him, and Becky Hammond should apologize every day for the rest of her life. This is on me. I didn't get to enjoy that at the Garden, and I learned a very important lesson tonight. But at the end of the day, all that matters is that the Knicks won.
That was painful to watch, man. But I like how he reeled it in at the end, and he's like, you know what? It's whatever. That's on me. But at the end of the day, we won.
He tried.
And that's what matters.
He tried. But his attempt is just a coping mechanism. Because now when you have to try to take the attention off of how stupid your mistake was and then go, Becky Hammond needs to apologize. Becky Hammond didn't pay probably $6,000 per ticket to Madison Square Garden last night and walk out on her all-star player, her all-NBA basketball player. Like, let's not try to get Becky Hammond to apologize. Keep apologizing.
There's no way I'm able to record a video after walking out on that kind of game and spending that kind of money on those kind of seats. There's no way. No way. Kind of excitement. No, I would not be able to do it. I would. Wow.
I have a friend that's always doing that, always trying to leave the game early. I'm like, yo, man, I need to see the clock strike 0, my man. Yeah. Like, I haven't seen too many crazy things happen.
We lost to the Luka Doncic Dallas Mavericks after being up like 11 points with a minute and a half left in the game. And Luka ended up beating us, like a year and a half ago or something like that.
Didn't the Pacers beat you guys last year in similar type of fashion too in the playoffs? I mean, that's what started the whole snowball effect. You guys losing that series, right?
And that was a year ago from today, actually, which is crazy.
Right. This is why.
That was game 1.
This is why I haven't said anything derogatory towards you and the Cleveland Cavaliers, because I remember vividly I felt. I remember vividly how I felt last year when the Pacers did that to us. It was not fun, and so I have been giving you grace.
I'm not that gracious.
And not rubbing it in.
I'm not that gracious. You verbally assault me as a person, I can forgive you. All right. You can root against my Knicks, all gloves are off. All right. But, as stupid as that was for him to do it, Al and I, even in the watch party, were like, yo, we're
I asked for the check. I was like, yo, let me get my check. So
we're losing this game. Like, it's done. And so I want to play this video and then talk to you, Ryan, about your thoughts on that game. Because this video, to me, is just as amazing, because all the Knicks fans in the comments that were like crucifying that guy, and him leaving, it says a lot about them as well, because this is actually how all of us are as Knicks fans. And we just see that he made the bigger mistake. So we want to point that out to make our miserable fandom look and feel better. Excuse the language. I'm 1 or 2 parts here. But I just thought the whole thing was hilarious, and I wasn't going to edit his comedy. But here's
funny, man.
Quarter saying you hate this fucking team, and they're never.
Let me refresh it.
Yeah, you got to start it over. Yeah.
I'm sorry. All right. So it says Knicks fans post-game interview.
How are you feeling? One of the biggest comebacks in playoff history.
I mean, I'm super excited. All glory to God. We just got to keep the faith and we got to keep executing.
So did you keep your faith the whole time?
Yeah, absolutely, Samantha. And that's a great question. I kept my faith the whole entire time. I live my life by a motto, never waver.
So you say you never waver, but I do have proof of you wavering in the fourth quarter, saying you hate this fucking team and they're never going to win anything.
Oh my God, I hate this fucking team. Oh, we're never going to win anything. If y'all don't care, I don't care.
Do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, I said it. I definitely said that. And I've always lived my life by the motto, in order to make room for greatness, you have to give up hope. And that's my job. That's my role in this team. We go down 1, I give up. We go up 3, but we miss an open layup, I give up. My job is to give up so they can show up. So that's me showing up, is giving up on my team. And by wavering, I'm never wavering.
Thank you so much for this interview.
That's
Yo, you guys gotta
Wavering,
follow him.
I'm
He's
never-
hilarious, man. That guy's
He is
funny.
so funny. Like I'm trying to get him on the show because all of his Knicks content is hilarious.
Oh,
What
that
is-
would be
what is-
sick.
what is he? What is his name on Twitter?
Let me find it for you.
Well, he's on IG. He's on
It's
IG.
on IG. Okay.
Peach Fuzz Poppy.
Okay.
Peach Fuzz Poppy. All right, Ryan. So
Funny name.
what are your thoughts, Ryan? Like from what you saw in that game, like the highs and lows as a Cav fan of what you saw on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to people locally about the game, about, the Knicks have a week's rest and we're coming right off it. I said, yeah, it could go one of 2 ways. Is they're rusty and we come in, we just played and, we kind of surprised. I said, if we could take 1 or 2 games at the Garden, or in Madison, we could beat. That's good. Like that's an accomplishment, and maybe we can sneak one off because the rust and stuff like that. So, as it was going on, I think it was good. I think what we were doing to Brunson, with the Knicks flipped the script and did it exactly to Harden in the fourth quarter, and it was just a total brain fart. And like I said, I was not convinced that we were going to win that game. And we needed to be like up by 20 with 3 minutes left for me to be like, okay, well, we actually got this one in the bag. I will say, like, as a Cavs fan and watching this, yes, Garland moved and Harden came in. And with all of the bullshit that comes with Harden and his Nicky Neck, let me note that I never liked Harden. I don't like the ways that he draws fouls and stuff like that. And now he's on my team. Like I said earlier in the podcast, we've won and lost games with him. But I think with Garland moving and Harden being in, I don't think we win either of those 2 series if Garland is there. And the one thing that was always in question with the Cavs, did they have the grit, the toughness to dig themselves out of it? And they did it twice in 2 other series. So losing that game in the way that they did makes me think that we're cooked. But they also we were down to the Pistons last, and we rolled off 3 straight, then lost at home in Game 6, and then smoked them in Game 7. There's such a Jekyll and Hyde team. It's a very skilled Cavs team, a lot of great depth in players, but you just don't know what you're going to get. And it's not even from game to game; it's from quarter to quarter. And then as a Cavs fan watching it, and you guys know because it's you were on the opposite side, and you've lived this with the Pacers and the shit last year is like just the last 2 shots of the game. I can't remember who hit the corner 3 to tie the game. The one that bounced miraculously and somehow went in. Yeah. And then Sam Merrill, like literally 3/4 of the basketball was in the hoop.
Win
the game.
yeah.
And it comes out, crazy. Right? So I'm like, can I swear on this?
Yeah.
We just watched. I was just like, my 13-year-old son, we're fucked. It's over. We're like after seeing those 2 shots, I'm like, there is no fucking way that we win in overtime about it. And then he had a full meltdown. It's impossible to watch with because over my years, I'm kind of like seasoned with this bullshit. But he is a 13-year-old being a Cleveland fan, like it is so fresh wounds. And I'm like, I can't even. Yeah. But I honestly think that I still feel like the Cavs will make it a series. Like I think it's probably going to go 6 games. I think the Knicks will win. And in my opinion, and kind of watching on the corner of my eye, the Western Conference Finals, like in my opinion, and I know you guys are all excited about the Knicks. Neither team is going to win the NBA Finals against those two teams. They are so much, in my opinion, a level beyond the Knicks and the Cavs. Yes, going to the finals would be great. It's kind of like when I remember the first time I went to an NBA Finals game when LeBron took the Cavs. I think it was in 2008 when we played the Spurs and they whooped our ass 4-0, sweeped us. Hey, it is what it is, and I feel like if the maybe not the Knicks, maybe they could get one, but I feel like we're just competing for second place in the finals here at this point. But that's my hot take. You guys could totally disagree with that, but
I have a few things to chime back on that one. So first, I thought this was a funny quote because I understand that Garland wasn't going to get you guys where you needed to go. But I feel like the kind of player Garland is, there's so much more you guys could have done digging-wise for the right piece. I feel like this quote makes sense. Y'all went and got Harden to help with a championship, and he doesn't perform in the playoffs. Like, he has never performed well in the playoffs. And your guys' aspirations was for a playoff contention team for this year. And so that would be like the Knicks being like, oh my goodness, we're struggling with shooting. Do you think we can get Ben Simmons? It's like, what? Like, what? Why are we doing that? So I feel like Cleveland dropped the ball there, because right now you're in Donovan Mitchell's like elite prime years. Like, this is your guys' time to be able to contend. Like Mobley's still got some time. He's young. He's still great. Jarrett Allen, who knows if he's going to be there in a year or two, like regardless. But if you're building kind of like, we are with Jalen Brunson, you try to get the right now players, and James Harden is not the right now player, like he's been the could have been player, the didn't do it player, the past his prime player, shows up when he wants to player all throughout his career. And that's not what Donovan needs. Donovan needed a true number 2 that was constantly going to be there for him night in and night out, because that's what happened with Garland. Garland would be on fire for like a row of games, and you guys looked insane with Garland last year. And then all of a sudden, Garland disappeared for like 6 games in a row. That's exactly what Harden is. He's a show up, disappear kind of player. The only thing I'll push back on is we are the only team that constantly took it to and beat the Spurs this season. And that was before our offense and defense were really clicking. Like, that was when our team was kind of in a trying to still figure it out phase. And so what I noticed from this OKC series is when Victor struggles the most is when you put on a guy that is not a center on him, like he struggles with Caruso. But with the center position, Chet's not strong enough to come 80% of the time as the weak side help to Alex Caruso. So they're relying on Alex Caruso. We can play that same small ball McBride or Shamet or Hart defense on him, but then you also have Mitchell Robinson once you get past them. And so I think that when it comes to how we fare against the Spurs, I feel it's better. I don't know if we could deal with the pace of OKC. That's to be determined because we haven't seen us play them when we were actually good this season. But I think that when it comes to the Spurs, I do think we can handle them better than OKC can handle them. But that's just a thought. What's your thoughts, Al?
Well, I think just let me get on that real quick. I think we can handle either team. We played the Spurs tough already. We also played OKC tough 2 years in a row. We haven't beat them yet, but we have played them tough. And then I also think that we're getting good prep for especially OKC because Cleveland has the flopping shooting guard like Shea, in Harden, right? They kind of both play the similar style of floppy foul baiting basketball. And then they also have the two bigs. They deploy the two bigs, and they will probably deploy the bigs the same way that Cleveland is deploying them right now with playing the ghost coverage on Josh Hart. So I feel like we're getting a prep for the finals. And then the Spurs, they will probably have 7'5" Wemby roaming in the paint as well, right? So I feel like we're getting good prep for that matchup now. My hope is that series goes 7 games. They beat each other up, and we get yet another fatigued opponent that kind of, pushes the scales in our favor.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't count us out. I wouldn't count us out just yet.
I'm gonna go to your sister. She said, "I'm not scared of the West," and then she also dropped some bombs, and she said, "Our OKC games were close. Like even when our offense and defense weren't what they are now, those games were still close. We didn't get blown out like a lot of other teams have, and we did wipe the floor with the Spurs throughout the season." So last two things I'll say to what Ryan said before I throw it to Apollo is I watched something on Hoops Sports YouTube yesterday. It was like just showing the Knicks from last year to this year and everything that's changed. And they talked about that deflating loss against the Spurs. Against the Indiana Pacers last year, and how we lost that first game by like 20-something points, and how it deflated us for the rest of the series. Like when you come back from that big of a deficit on a game that you really thought was like, hey, let's win this. And that team didn't play their best basketball and still came back and beat you. That can be really deflating. And that's kind of how I feel like this series is going to go. Because when you looked at your guys on the fourth quarter, they looked deflated losing that game. And when they panned to Jarrett Allen on the bench, he looked like his soul was taken from him from Shang Tsung of Mortal Kombat. Like he looked soulless. Like it was just watching it was like, wow, that's real time. And then the last thing I'll say is that when it comes to actually go, Apollo. I'll do this after. I want to hear your thoughts on what Ryan was talking about.
So I mean, in terms of who say this should end, and we're waiting for our opponent in the West. I think you're gonna face a difficult matchup regardless. You're in the finals. You know what I mean? I think you kind of expect to have a matchup where it is the toughest matchup of your season, of course.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we've beat the Spurs this year, but they've gotten better as well. But so have we. There's a lot of things that I think our guys have prepared for throughout their careers that the Spurs just don't have that experience yet to handle. Also, they're also playing a youngish team in the Thunder. The Thunder is not an old team. They're a young team as well. They have an MVP, and all of that, but that's still a young squad. I don't think that they have been challenged by a really, really tough team, which is why you're starting to see with the Spurs now. It's like, oh, hold on. So maybe this might be more of a challenge than you think when you talk about having the Spurs versus the Thunder. So I do think that they did run into how many games did it take them to beat the Pacers without Halliburton last year? So 6, 7? Did it go to 7 games?
I think it went 6.
It went
6
6
games? 6 games. And and that's a team that outside of Halliburton is not stacked. You know what I mean? It's just a really, really well coached team. So I do think I think there's a possibility for us to, I think there's reasons why we can beat both teams. And just with the things that I've alluded to. Also, I think it would be cool if we were able to beat the Spurs in a big game twice this year. We beat them in the NBA Cup, that to get that championship in that tournament was good, and that would be cool to see them again at the end and get some revenge for 1999. That's just what I'm looking forward to. But personally, you know, I think this year these guys have shown a lot of poise that they didn't have last year. I think there was a lot of excitement. It was their first year together. These guys didn't know each other, and to put these guys into the fire, and have your season on the line, and to really not know each other as much as you know, as other teams did, because like I said, that trade happened right before training camp. You know what I mean? Like these guys didn't really have much time to learn each other, you know each other at all. So I do think that there's a little bit of a tone with these guys where they're not, that you don't really see them as much during the game. You're going to see them excited and jumping up and down, but even at the end of the games, you're seeing them, they're like, listen, we still got a long way to go. You know, they're not saying, hey, we made it, you know, and that was the feeling last year. We got to the Eastern Conference Finals and it was like, yeah, we made it. And it was like, no, you got a long way to go. You got a long way to go. So I do think that there's a possibility for us to actually win the finals, no matter who we play, for different reasons. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I think it would be a tough series regardless. If I said before the series that it was going to be a 6-game series between us and the Cavs, I'd have to say that no matter who we play in the Western Conference Finals, that if we were to win, it would definitely go 7 games. So,
by the way, the Pacers and OKC went 7 games.
They went 7 games. They went 7 games.
That's actually a really good point, right? Like we would be. So OKC pretty much has the same team. I think we would be a stronger opponent than the Pacers. So that, you know, with simple math, that would give us a very strong chance of edging them out.
Even not looking to last year, but looking at this year, who's the one team that OKC has struggled with all series? The Spurs. Like all season. You know, I think the Spurs beat them every time this season. And who's beating the Spurs nonstop? The Knicks. You know, so for me, you know, I think that now that we're clicking and everything like that, but either way, it's going to be good. Like you said, Apollo, I would love to get revenge for 99, and you know, this be our year against the Spurs, especially because let's be honest, Wemby is the future, you know, of the NBA, and the way that team plays. You know, with Vassell and Castle, like those guys are young stars in the making. And so that's going to be a really good team for a long time. So I think now would be a really great time to strike. As opposed to this series, I'm going to say Knicks in 5. I want to give you guys 1, Cleveland, but I think it's Knicks in 5. So anyway, we're going to move on to the next pour. All right. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about this series that we're currently in and this upcoming game. This one that we're going to do right here is the crime scene, because that's the next proof, and that is 131 proof. It's a 10-year, 9-month. And where's this one out of?
I can't say the distillery. We have an NDA, but it's
no. Who picked it? Like where was it released?
Crime scene. Is that it? What does it say? Does it say on there River? I think it might be a barrel select from River Roots again.
It says single barrel exclusive release.
Yeah, so that's by us as well. We did that pick.
Cool.
So that's Kentucky. You'll probably get some peanut notes on that if you. But yeah, this is a bourbon, single barrel bourbon.
Do you guys release mash bills?
Yeah, we do release mash bills, but I don't have it for this particular one right now. I'd have to look. Give me 1 second. But yeah, we're definitely. This is going to be one of the lower proofs. All the other ones are in the 130s. So giddy up, boys.
This one's 131.
Yep.
Oh.
Let's get it.
So based off of what you said, without the mash bill, I'm going to take a stab at it. Obviously, you don't have to confirm or deny because, you know, you're not supposed to. But if it's heavy on the peanut, I'm going to probably think this is Jim Beam Distillery.
Wow. This is very strong peanut flavor. I like it. I'm a Beam guy. I love what they do with the little book and stuff like that. So This is actually really nice to me. But yeah, you could definitely taste the peanut. That comes through pretty strong.
That is definitely Beam.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, like, I've had a lot of Beam. Like I said, I'm a fan, and I've never really, for whatever reason, tasted the peanut. But on this one right now, that thing was shining through pretty good. It's not bad. I like the flavor.
This is what I'm gonna say. I'm not a huge peanut butter guy. Like, I'm not. Mostly because of not so much the flavor, but like the texture of peanut butter doesn't really rock with me. But I feel like this seriously tastes like if I was eating a charred peanut butter sandwich at like a campground or something like that, where you're making like a peanut butter toasted sandwich over a fire. Like, this is creamy as can be, like on the mouthfeel. And you get that like smoky peanut taste, like peanuts over a roasted fire. Like, yeah, that's
are you guys getting like that 130 proof burn? Because I'm not getting any of that. This thing is dangerous.
Yeah, it's a sleeper.
This is drinking way less than 130 proof.
I'm not getting 130. I'm getting a higher proof than the last one that we poured. But I'm definitely not getting 130. I'm not getting 130. I'm getting it's funny. On the nose, I got a note for the first time on my own, and Phil didn't say it. Was I got a leather note.
Yep.
And then after I got that leather note, when I went to, of course, after tasting, of course, you get to taste the peanut, but I got like a really, really dark chocolate kind of.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, bro. Holy crap!
Yeah. Like,
yo, you're good at picking up the chocolate notes. I'm not so good. At picking up
that's one note that I pick up a lot. It's funny because when he first started to say chocolate, I'm like, yeah, I'm not picking up a chocolate note. But I was thinking of milk chocolate. You know what I mean? And then when I think of dark chocolate, I'm like, oh, okay, I can definitely taste that, especially in this one.
Definitely there.
Yeah, I can.
You know what's crazy? The more sips I get, the more it evolves. Like, the more like flavors I'm getting out of it. I think I was just so shocked by how much peanut was on that first sip that all my mind could think about was peanut. But now I'm like drinking it more, I'm getting that dark chocolate, but like it's like a fudgy brownie kind of dark chocolate, like a dark chocolate brownie. And then I'm also getting on the last sip I had, it was like a dark fruit jelly. So like I got like a fruit burst out of nowhere that I didn't expect. So this is like,
get out of here,
campfire peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like, this is crazy. That's really crazy.
And what's the proof? You said 130?
131.
131.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that distillery, and I like the peanut notes. I think I often, it's funny to hear you guys talk about it, because I often say sometimes with those I was getting like a peanut fudge brownie. That's what it kind of I get in some of those, at least the ones with the chocolate, and always the peanut, obviously.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is like sometimes with the Bookers through the years, I haven't liked certain releases because it's been the only note that I really tasted was like the peanut. And I was like, man, like it's kind of one note. But my favorite release,
like a dry peanut.
Yeah. And so my favorite release from them as recent was the Reserves 24, because it had that peanut note, but it also had a ton of different, flavors within it. And that's what I'm getting from this one. So that's awesome.
Hey, I want to do a quick shout out for in the chat, man. Shout out my guy, Find a Way Dre. It was just his birthday the other day. So salute to him. He's a big bourbon guy, so he's enjoying the dialogue.
What up? What up?
Salute.
All right. So before we let Apollo go, because he's got to go, you got time for one more pour, Apollo?
Let's do it.
Yeah, a little nightcap.
Another one.
I'm not gonna say no to him. Come on.
There's two more, but I know asking you for two is probably a
This
little
one's
too
gonna
much.
tuck. This one's gonna tuck you in. This one's gonna
Yeah.
tuck you in.
Yeah.
If I do two more, it'll tuck me and my wife in.
We'll tuck him in right there in that chair.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, if I do two more, then I'll be sleeping in here tonight.
All right, so we're gonna go with the Mocha Dark Horse. This is 139.36 proof.
Yeah, so this is not from the same distillery in Kentucky. This place is in Bardstown. And yeah, the barrels were pretty, all these were pretty epic barrels.
All right.
And you know, when Phil and I were talking about this, and we sent these samples in like February, is because of River Roots and like the lot of barrels that we have, we don't really send media samples or do anything, because literally we bring barrels in, and by the time we send out media samples, the barrels are already gone. Everything's been picked. So, and then we just move on to the next thing. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, River Roots is not stagnant. We're always kind of bringing in new things. And sometimes we're like, oh, shit, we should have bought more of those particular barrels. You know, whatever. We're just going to get the next thing, the next good thing. So, all these barrels that you're tasting are all already sold out. But yeah, so this one was definitely one of our more epic lots of 13-year Kentucky bourbon, and they all floated around like the high 30s to hazmats.
I love it. So, do you have a mash bill on this one?
This would be, oh geez, hold on. I'm not good with remembering the different.
And now I know why it's called the Mocha Horse, because it smells like a mocha latte.
Yep.
Yeah. You should probably give so
wow.
this the peanut won't be as much there. You'll get some more oak influence. There'll be some more complexity in this one.
Oh, you said this is the same distillery, you said?
No, he said it's not the
I said
same.
you won't get
Okay.
This
peanut,
is in
no, or
Bardstown.
as much as peanut. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
I have a question on the process
a
when
s'mores.
you have a minute.
I'm getting like a s'mores kind of scent.
Man,
I'm
I'm
definitely like a
I'm
s'more.
getting roasted coffee.
Wow, that's good. Yeah, I can smell the coffee.
Yeah, I'm getting coffee. I'm getting a little bit of maple. A little bit of like,
yeah.
You ever been to those hotels where like the coffee is gonna be really, really horrible, so you just open up those like French vanilla like
Packs,
creamers,
yeah.
pretty much make your coffee white so it's tolerable.
Yeah.
I feel like I smell a little bit of the vanilla on the coffee.
Yeah, I can definitely
smell that. Yeah.
Phil, the mash bill on this one is 74% corn, 18 rye, and 8% malted barley.
Okay.
And this yielded, let's see, that yielded a total of 104 bottles. So older age, higher proof, you'll get lower bottle yields on that one.
Man, I love this. Holy crap. This is so oily. The viscosity on this is incredible.
All right. So I have an idea of where this comes from, but it might be wrong. Obviously, you don't have to say anything there. But mash bill wise, I'm going to taste it and see if I get those kind of notes.
When you guys are tasting, I want to say one thing that I noticed in your comments before I joined and now is that all Knicks fans are so optimistic, or like I feel like in Cleveland fans we're more guarded and pessimistic about everything to make sure we don't get too hurt. It's just been years of
No, no.
Right? Like you guys
have
seem
both.
very like optimistic about the future of the Knicks.
Well, because things are different. Like if this was last
We
season,
haven't lost a playoff game.
yeah, or even in the earlier part of the season, there was a lot of like back and forth, us fighting people, like in the chat. Like Knicks Twitter can be a very toxic place, which is where most Knicks fans like hang out. But
Yeah, super toxic.
right now,
It's awesome.
Right now,
It will.
after getting blocked at the rim for a chip and all this, like all the things that like you hate to see as a Knicks fan, having seasons of Andre Bargani as a player that you actually went for, trading everything for Carmelo Anthony and then getting my knees don't work Amari Stoudemire. Like we've had years of pain where Courtney Lee was the best player on the court, like very, very rough seasons. We've had that PTSD, but we're finally seeing for the first time all the things that we've asked for as Knicks fans. So there's the optimism right now.
I think if you're asking that question in January, I guarantee it's a different feel amongst the fan base.
A different split.
It's more definitely around the 50-50 mark around that time, because guys just weren't figuring it out. Like we were a completely different team before the deadline. And I think once guys realized they weren't going to get traded and that, we were going to keep them and they felt like they were a home, they were still home and, guys wanted them here, then they started to click. Then it was like, okay, all right, maybe we're, we're really a good team after all. And then after that, that's when the ball started rolling and then everyone was all in again, but it wasn't like that all year.
Those guarded fans are still out there. There's a lot of PTSD amongst the Knicks fan base. I have a lot of PTSD.
Al has a lot.
You also, you haven't. I have another show called Knick Life Crisis, and my co-host has terrible PTSD to the point where he questions everything and he never gets hype about anything. So
he's the miserable girlfriend that like you can go on the greatest date in the world and they'd be like, I think I saw a hair on my napkin. And I'm like, it was probably yours. No, it wasn't. Well, it's the same color, it's the same length. If I put it up to your hair, no, this is disgusting. I'm never coming back here again. Like, I love that's him as a Knicks fan right now. All right, so let's give tasting notes so Apollo can go. I'll go first. To me, this is straight up like one of my favorite kind of like just random snacks. If you can find them at like a Trader Joe's or something like that, I wouldn't buy them at like a cheap grocery store because they taste like garbage. But I love buying those chocolate covered espresso beans where you kind of just throw them in your mouth and you get that little dose of sweetness, but also a little bit of caffeine zest. Like that's exactly what I'm tasting here. I'm getting chocolate covered espresso beans. I'm getting tobacco and a little bit of nuttiness. Those are the three that I'm getting. And so from the mash bill flavor profile, I'm thinking this could be like a Barton release from Barton Distillery. So,
I'm getting, this weekend I barbecue. I try to barbecue every weekend, especially once it gets warm for the family. And this year I've been doing more charcoal. I was doing, the gas because I have a double-sided grill. So one side I can do gas, one side I can do charcoal. But this time, I've been doing more of the charcoal. But what I've been incorporating are these wood chips in there.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a lot of that in there. I'm getting that smell, that taste of that barbecue wood chip in there. I don't know. I forgot the I don't want to say flavor, but yeah, I forgot I guess I can say flavor. That's the only thing I think of the wood chips that I bought, but I'm getting that like a toasted barbecued wood chip kind of taste in there for sure. Definitely. And it's smooth for, you said 130, what? 135? 139?
Oh, no.
This is
134. Oh, yeah. 139.36. Yeah. Almost 140.
So it's not a hazmat.
Not yet.
Yeah.
It's right under. Right under.
It's like flirting with it.
It's and then that's what I was saying. It's for something that's rated so high. It's not it's not burning me as much as the other ones.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not like I get so nervous about buying anything that's like that high proof because I just feel like it can easily go south and not be well done, and then you just have a bottle there that's you can't drink.
Yeah,
but this don't drink like a 140 again. Like this is nice. I could drink this all day.
Delicious.
Wow. That's good.
That's how we usually trend with our picks. Is like when you get our hazmats, they usually drink lower. I'm going to say that, and then we're going to blow you guys out of the water with this last one because it's lower proof actually than the 139 that you're having. It's 132, and I can tell you that we'll let Apollo leave here, but yeah, I'll give you some background about this. Was definitely an experiment geek fest, and I'll tell you how you got to it.
All right, I had Apollo. Before you go,
I'll still taste it. Don't
Apollo. Before you go, we got a game tomorrow night. Yeah. For anybody that is in the chat right now, if you're anywhere near Florida, we need you to pull up. Al and I will be putting on a watch party tomorrow night, and it's going to be a vibe. Like we got a lot of really awesome sponsors that have committed to donating stuff for us to raffle off. So we will be selling cheap raffle tickets all night long. But it's going to be at a spot called Gas Bars. Shout out to NYK All Day for their contribution. Gusto NYC for their contribution. We'll be donating this hat. Mathematics Apparel has some stuff. My guy Tom Sanford and Bacher Backpages donated. My guys at Heat Check donated. And my guy Fritz from The Nick of Time and NBA Economy Show has donated bobbleheads of Jalen Brunson. So we will have some Dictionary live. We will have, some giveaways and everything like that. And it's just going to be a real fun time. So please come out, support what we're doing, support everybody at that. Shout out to my guy Chris at the Tampa Bay Knicks fans because he put on one that was really, really great. And he'll be there as well tomorrow.
What time is that? Because I got somebody in St. Pete that wants to pull up.
We'll be there by 7:30.
7:30. I'll be there at 7.
The other thing you didn't mention about Gas Bars is a bourbon bar. They have an elite bourbon selection. So like the place we went to yesterday, like they had nothing that we could drink. They had nothing. But Gas Bars, they have elite bourbon. You guys will have great drinks there. So definitely, like it's on brand with what we're doing here. So all our bourbon drinkers pull up, and you'll have a great time. We're gonna play game audio too, so it will be lit in there. Believe me.
Yes, it will. And so if this one goes well, we can keep doing more. Apollo, you can give them my number, and I'll text them the address and everything like that, so they can pull through. Before you go, what are your thoughts on that game tomorrow? Do we get the W? Do we get an L?
I think they should not have let us get a head full of steam. And it's not to be big headed. I think the way we've been playing, we were on a 7-game winning streak already prior to that, and they could have knocked that out. But to get 8 in a row, and we haven't really even gotten back up to speed yet. OG's not back up to speed. Hart shot isn't falling like it was before. We stopped playing. I think there's a lot more to come. I think we're going to see some adjustments. Of course, we're going to see some defensive adjustments by Kenny Atkinson. I hope so. For you guys' sake, this holding on to those fouls was just silly. There's a lot of questionable decisions that Kenny Atkinson made.
Timeouts.
Yeah, it's very questionable things that happen. So I do expect them to make adjustments, but I think these guys they woke up at the end of that game, and it would have been easier for them to come into the second game for the Cleveland's sake. It would have been easier for them to come into the second game with some questions, not knowing how they're going to be able to fight back and losing one at home. But the fact that they don't have to answer that question anymore, and they're starting to figure out who they were again a little bit. I think that wasn't really good to end the game that way, especially in the Garden, So I think we get the win again. It's especially if you're gonna run James Harden at the end of the game as much as you did. I'm not sure how long it'll be a game. I think the way these guys have been showing us, they like to, get a head full of steam pretty early, especially in the playoffs. So I'm looking to see a nice victory tomorrow. But I do expect some adjustments. I do expect the Cleveland guys to be a little bit more aggressive, especially with guarding Brunson and attacking him on defense. So we'll learn to see those adjustments, but hopefully we get that dub tomorrow.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
I agree. I know you got to clean toilets again in the morning, so
You always say that.
I'm gonna ride that wave all night. Like every week, I'm gonna ride that wave. But I appreciate you, bro. We'll be texting tomorrow.
Yeah.
You have a great night. Enjoy that pour tomorrow during the game because it's going to be incredible. I'm looking forward to it. But like always, appreciate you, bro. God bless.
Salute to you guys. All right, Ryan. Later, man.
Yeah.
Later.
All right. So we're going to talk about what he was talking about with the adjustments and the timeouts and all that stuff. We just sent the open panel link. If anyone from the chat wants to come up and share some things, please feel free to. We are going to be up here for a little bit longer. But right now we are thankful for the all 200 and something of you that are still rocking with us right now, live, watching us on multiple channels. If you guys can, please head over to River Roots on Instagram and support them. Like, Ryan doesn't get anything out of this except being someone that's awesome in the community and someone that is just having a good time being able to, get their stuff out on another platform. This is a very, very different show than most whiskey brands ever get on when it comes to podcasts. So I'm thankful for it because I know I threw a curveball to the industry this year. I was like, let's talk basketball and drink whiskey. And they're like, what do you mean? Not football, not horse racing, not baseball? Like, what? We do golf, but basketball, so like I'm thankful that Ryan is an actual basketball head, knows what he's talking about. That was a delight to me to have him on. But yeah, if you guys want to come up on the open panel, come on up. But let's talk about those adjustments, Ryan. Because Kenny Atkinson, I know we were talking about James Harden earlier, but I feel like once you see Jalen Brunson start cooking, you got to rethink things. Especially in the fourth, when for the last 2 seasons, he's been known as Captain Clutch in the industry, like in the NBA, has gotten awards of Clutch Player of the Year, and you see him start to percolate and you don't do anything. So for me, the way I said it to my wife, and she's like, that sounds disgusting. I was like, it is what it is. But Kenny Atkinson set the table and he allowed Jalen Brunson to feast. And Jalen Brunson just kept eating James Harden like he was barbecue chicken. Like, it was just every single play. There was no actual way in hell that James Harden was going to stop him. And so when I look at it and I go, okay, you got to figure something else out. I understand that, like, you may not have a star-studded defensive roster, but you're seeing that what's happening is not working. Even putting Max Strus on him or even bringing in some Sam Merrill minutes, those guys, even though they struggled with Jalen, they still made it harder for Jalen than James Harden did. So even though it wasn't elite, you still have to go with what works better than what's currently not working. And so I felt like Kenny Atkinson really dropped the ball there. Because for me, I felt like that was your guys' game to win. Like, was to come into the Garden, game 1, after being tired from your series and making it a statement game. But instead, it turned out to be the opposite of this was about to be a statement game. And then we got our teeth kicked in the end of the fourth and overtime. And now we're playing from behind instead of ahead. So what are your thoughts on the Kenny Atkinson lack of timeout calling and lack of, changing James Harden? We're also going to bring up my guy Joe from AC, who's going to come up and share after you do. So what up, Joe?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Salute. Yo, salute to you, Ryan. Salute to you, Al. What's going on, guys?
Chilling. So we're going to have my guy Ryan talk, and then you can talk after. So what are your thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I think James Harden, Atkinson, it's 100%. We've seen it because we've already gone through 2 series. Nothing's going to change. He's going to be there, and he's going to dribble the basketball, and he's going to be out. He's going to be out there. Now, I think, for the Cavs, our defensive stopper, our wing defensive stopper is actually Dean Wade. However, and going into the series, the Cavs fans were talking about looking at statistically about how Dean Wade has done defensively against Brunson, and he's actually done fairly well.
Yeah.
However, he's also an offensive liability, and he's scared to shoot the basketball. So I think what Atkinson has been thinking, and I think a lot of Cavs fans were thinking, it's a very love-hate relationship with Dean Wade. And you don't really, it definitely doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but he does provide those defensive things that aren't necessarily seen unless you know the game a little bit. But I think Cavs fans in general were like, oh my gosh, let's not use him. Let's go with Merrill. Let's go with Strus. Let's focus on those guys that, have their grit and stuff like that. And I think that backfired. And yeah, James Harden just got cooked, and there was no adjustments, no timeouts. It was super frustrating. Phil, I know you went back to the whole Garland thing, and 2 years ago, I remember when the Knicks cooked the Cavs in the playoffs, they said, we just literally attacked Garland. He was a liability. We just always went after Garland. So James Harden, obviously the Knicks just went after James Harden, but statistically and in these playoffs in general, Harden is a better defensive player than Garland. The rebounds, and for everything, he's a better player. Is he old? Yes. Does he have a reputation? All the Cavs fans were super concerned about, we just trade our young point guard for this dude that's old and always struggles in the playoffs. And it's been super, again, Jekyll and Hyde with Harden, right? He'll win us a game and then totally flop and loses the game. So yeah, it's super frustrating. And I agree with Apollo that I think our opportunity to steal one of the first 2 games was the game before. I will, I guess, kind of put in my back pocket that this team does seem to have more grit, and has surprised me. Phil, when we spoke, and I think you were preparing for the Knicks Cavs thing going into Game 6 because, the Cavs are going to win the next 4. Win the next 4. The Game 6 at home, they're gonna kill the Pistons. I was like, I hope this works out. Yeah. And it didn't. And me going into Game 7 is this is the typical Cavs. They don't have the grit. They don't have the toughness to work themselves out of this. And lo and behold, they did, and they worked themselves out of it. So I don't know what maybe they're going to show that grit again. Maybe they're going to steal Game 2. They got to steal a game, and literally steal a game. They steal the game against the Pistons in Game 5. They need to steal a game with the Knicks. The Knicks stole the game from the Cavs, so they gotta find a way to do that as well. Yeah. Sometime.
Let me jump in here.
Yeah.
Let me jump in here real quick. Phil, before I go in, put this comment that Find a Way Dre just put on there. He said, Ryan, there's only one D way. He's a Heat fan, by the way. Yeah. Just so you know. Yeah. But look, so when I was watching this game last night and everything was unfolding, I immediately thought about the Indiana Pacers last year and what they did to us. But now, as we've been having this conversation, I'm realizing that there are differences, right? So last year, the Pacers came into our home stadium, punched us in the mouth, and stole the game. We gave you guys a gut punch, but nothing really, like, if you, like, for the Cavs fan and the Cavs team, what they should be thinking, and I know this is a gut punch and it's going to impact them, but what they really should be thinking is nothing really happened here. You lost an away game. You lost game one. Like, you can lose game one and game two, and nothing has really happened until you lose on your home floor, right? You got to take care of your home court. So that's how your team should be thinking about regrouping. Can they do that? I don't know. It was a gut punch, but at the end of the day, those guys need to have, very short memory and be like, all right, man, whatever. We were supposed to lose that game anyways, kind of deal. So that's the bait that I'll cut you. I don't know why I've been nice to you the whole episode, but I've been finding the ways for, like, you to think about the rest of your season differently. But originally I was thinking, like, they're done. They're absolutely done. But if I really think about it, if I was in your shoes, I would be like, that sucked, but nothing has really happened. That's how I would think about it.
And you're absolutely right. And it's the same. It's the PSD. It's the protective, like, shielding yourself to not get so hurt. But, like, to your point, if I'm being optimistic, this is almost identical. Potentially could play out just like the Pistons, right? Like, and it wasn't as bad, but the Pistons, game two, the Cavs should have won game two at Detroit, but they slipped away. They weren't up by 22. I mean, this was, don't get me wrong, game one that they lost to the Knicks was considerably worse, but they could have stole game two from the Pistons, and they blew it. So who's to say that they don't, right? They lose the first two to the Knicks, then win the two at home, and then they just got to steal either game 5 or game 7 and win. So to your point, that's exactly, hopefully, what the mentality is. Well, hopefully the mentality is let's not get into that situation and try to steal in game 2. But yeah, I mean, I think until the Cavs lose at home, that's when they're in trouble.
So here's the only pushback on Kenny Atkinson's decision for me. Like, I understand that, you don't want to substitute offense for defense. But at the time that Jalen was starting to cook, you guys were still ahead. Like, you didn't need offense. You needed to stop Jalen Brunson. Like, that's what you guys needed. And Donovan Mitchell is enough of an offensive threat that you could have substituted defense for offense because you needed to keep the lead. You guys lost the lead, and then you had us continue to accelerate past that lead. And so when I look at your guys' roster and I go, okay, so what you guys needed was a stop. You guys got Keon Ellis for the fact that he was an elite defender. Like, you guys got Keon Ellis for his defensive skills. So not bringing in Keon Ellis and throwing him on a Jalen Brunson that was starting to percolate was the foolish decision, in my opinion, because you did not need points. You needed stops. You needed to make sure that the Brunson burner didn't continue to explode and catch fire. And that's what Kenny Atkinson missed. He kept his scorer out there, even though he was getting cooked, when he needed to put a defender on there to stop the bleeding. He didn't stop the bleeding.
Well, I think the timeout was more important because I don't think Keon Ellis can stop Brunson in any way, shape, or form. He's the guy that, like, turned his head and Brunson went right past him, and he's like,
but at the end of the day, you put what's best on there. Like, even if you can't stop someone,
but
James Harden got blown by every single time. Keon could have at least slowed those possessions down before he even got there.
But I think letting the Knicks go on an 18-1 run before you call a timeout, that is like that's criminal, man. Like, you're gonna, if you, like, you know what happens on the 18-1 run of Jalen Brunson's just scoring. He's getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. And then when you finally call the timeout, it's gonna be that much harder for you to stop him. Like, you should have called the timeout when they got to like 8-0 run, like, or 6-0 run, like. And from what I've heard is, like, this has been a little bit of a theme in the Cleveland Cavaliers season, right? You guys have given up big leads throughout the year, right? So he should have the awareness that his team has done this season, and he should have called a timeout and try to stop it. Like you call a timeout at 6-0, at an 8-0 run, right? And then if they come back out and they do another 6-0 run, you call another timeout because like you had 5 timeouts and 2 of them went away after you went under the 3-minute mark. And it's like, yo, you just literally pissed away 2 timeouts that your team could have benefited from. Like that's grounds for getting fired, bro. Like seriously, that's grounds for getting fired. Like he put himself out there and he didn't even fess up to it, like in the pressers, in the post game pressers.
Yeah,
So
and protected Harden. He protected Harden like he always does. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so
It'll be interesting to see.
I'm gonna share this video real quick, and then I'm gonna bring up my guy Fritz as well and hear from him and Joe. I personally feel like you guys will get one, but I don't think it's gonna be in the Garden. Like I think that yesterday was your guys' chance to get one in the Garden. Knicks played poorly for 3.5 quarters of basketball. Like we have not played poorly in a full 1.5 of basketball since the second or third game of the Atlanta Hawks series. Everything else has been elite blowout basketball. And so that was your guys' chance where you were the one team that was able to stop us from having crazy playoff scoring numbers. That was your guys' chance. So I feel like now going into the Garden, our guys are clicking and they know how to come out for this next one. So I think that you guys will win one. I think it'll be game 4 in Cleveland, fighting for your guys' lives. And I think that's the game you guys will wind up getting. But I saw this video that showed a behind the scenes of the cameras at MSG. And it was Donovan Mitchell and James Harden.
I did not see this. Don't tell me they were fighting.
Yeah.
This is so fake.
That's
I love AI.
I had to play that. I just had to. I saw that and I was dying. So what up to my guy Fritz?
Hey, what's up, Fritz?
Fritz was good, my boy.
All right. So Joe's been waiting a while. Joe, what is your thoughts on the Cleveland Cavaliers' decisions in the fourth quarter? And what do you think on this next game? What are your thoughts?
I just gotta say, man, what a meltdown. These guys lost full composure. How do you lose a 22-point lead in the playoffs and keep, like, you guys are supposed to hold composure and hold that lead, man. I don't know what they're talking about on the bench or on the sidelines, what their coach is talking about, but listen, man, this was a historic win for us. And, I've been saying it all year. I've been saying, this team's got fight. This team's got grit. If we're down 20 points, it doesn't matter. We're coming back, baby. So, listen, man, shout out to McHale Bridges, man. Word. I made a short before the game started. I said McHale Bridges is going to take game 1. And guess what happened? When we needed McHale Bridges the most, I stood up in my seat. I was watching the game with my dad. My dad's like, sit down. I'm like, nah, I'm not sitting down. I made a short about this. McHale Bridges is taking this game home for us. You watch. And right when I said that, boom, he hit a 3 and tied the game up. It was like 99-99. I was like, McHale Bridges, baby. And then I made the short.
Joe, you got to tag me in that. You got to tag me in that, bro.
Yeah, man, I will. And I made another one today, man. It almost hit 1,000 views, 26-something likes. And I was saying, what did I tell you guys? McHale Bridges, baby. Bringing it home for us, man. But, that's another thing that Jalen Brunson, all year, the Jalen Brunson slander, I had to listen to it. Everyone killing Jalen Brunson. Oh, Jalen Brunson isn't a 1A. Oh, he's too small, this and that. Get out of here with that, man. You missed me with all that Jalen Brunson slander. I've been saying Jalen Brunson is Knicks Jesus, man. I've been saying he was going to drop 38 points in the playoffs to take it home for us, man. Listen, man. If I hear one more thing about Jalen Brunson slander, I swear I'm going to lose it, man. Because I've been defending this man since November. It was November I had to hear all the slander about Mitchell Robinson and Jalen Brunson and Mike Brown this. Listen, in the time when it matters in the playoffs, our guys got to step up and they got to do what it takes to win the basketball game. And guess what? I don't care that McHale Bridges had 0-point games during the regular season. Those games don't matter. During the playoffs, I need you to hit a big shot to keep this game going because we're down 20 points and we need to keep this lead going. We need to get back in this game. Yo, I'm putting the ball in McHale Bridges' hands, and he's going to hit them big shots for us. So, yo, salute to him.
How many games is this series going, Joe?
Man, this is a sweep. Bring out the brooms, baby. 4-0. Let's go, Knicks.
Let's go, Joe. Let's go, Joe.
I love your optimism. But also,
he's an optimistic Knicks fan.
Listen. That's where the tag comes from, the most optimistic. I know you guys brought this up earlier. Listen, the Knicks fan base has been so split. I've been trying to tell you guys, I'm an island boy just trying to make it. Come on over, baby. Come on over. Listen, I've been saying this team's got to fight, man. I just wanted everyone else to see it. I'm seeing Knicks fans start crying, because they didn't believe. You guys should have believed. This is the team I've been trying to show you and tell you about all year. We're here, baby. Let's go.
I love your optimism, but I also want to chime in on both.
Can't be humble anymore, man. I'm sorry, I can't.
Both things can be true. Okay, there have been times where Jalen Brunson forcing things when he is not shooting well, where he's not performing well, where he is being defended well, has cost us games. And yet, him being Captain Clutch in games like yesterday, both those things can be true. One does not negate the other. One doesn't make fans go, oh, he hasn't cost us games because he won us this one. He has. At the end of the day, he has. There's been times where his ego has gotten in the way of the Knicks being able to win a game. Okay? Last night, that was not the case. Last night, he caught fire and he rode the hot hand and was clutch. Both those things can be true. You can't ignore one because the other happened. Same with McHale. McHale was straight butt cheeks for 90% of the season. That does not mean that McHale has not been clutch offensively and defensively in the playoffs and has helped us win games like yesterday. One thing that I always want to make sure of is that our narratives don't make us go, well, this stuff didn't happen because this is happening now. No, that stuff still happened. He still sucked. He still was not worth 5 picks during the season. But one thing that me and the Latin assassin, Lee Escobedo, both said was, hey, at the end of the day, if McHale shows up in the playoffs, fine, forget the picks.
Well, yeah, that's where I'm coming from.
Forget the picks now, but that does not mean that he was not booty cheeks during the season. Both things can be true. So it's not an either or, it's a both and. He sucked during the season, and Jalen Brunson, his ego and forcing shots and not passing the ball and not working with his teammates cost us games. Yet Jalen Brunson is still proving to be one of the best players to ever wear a Knicks jersey.
Man, he's the GOAT.
And McHale is showing up. Both of those things are true. So I never want to be a fan that swings the pendulum one way and can't see the other side. It has to
I hear you.
So,
but did you see him standing up in front of the team yesterday and just being a leader and just leading the charge,
awesome.
letting everybody know, awesome. We're down by 20, but don't give up.
Yep.
Don't give up, guys. We got this. And that's what we need, man.
You need every single player. Jalen Brunson helped us get back in the game with his elite scoring, but then you also had him being selfless in passing it to McHale and passing it to Shamet. That is a different Brunson than the one that we were talking about where he was trying to be Captain Clutch, but doing so selfishly.
Bro, he had to play flawlessly for us to do that, man. Had to play flawless basketball.
So he played very, very well in the fourth, and that's what won us the game. And also, being able to, see that it wasn't just him. That's why I love the Miles McBride interview where he said the reason things started to take a turn
was
I love that. Because of Jose Alvarado being on the bench, talking to each and every player, encouraging them and speaking life into them. Because, yes, Jalen Brunson had 15 points, but he also had 2 assists. And those 2 assists led to clutch threes from McHale and Landry Shamet. So we can't ignore those.
Yo, shout out Landry Shamet, bro.
Yes, sir. All right, Fritzy Fritz, let's hear it. Oh, we can't hear
You're
you.
mad low.
You're on mute,
You're
brother.
mad low.
Real low? Okay. Am I
You're
still
better.
low?
Good.
Yeah,
You're
you're
good
good
now.
now.
Okay. Yeah, I really didn't think Brunson was being selfish. One thing about the comeback is a lot different than modern NBA where people jack up threes. So almost all those were paint floaters.
Yeah, killing in the paint. Yeah,
short jumpers. So like when he's selfish, like he'll see daylight from three point land and he'll jack up his shot. That wasn't what he did. He got into the lane. He was throwing up floaters. I was just surprised he didn't adjust. I was surprised Cleveland didn't adjust. But those are all the shots he can. If he takes those all day, it's not selfishness. It's not selfishness. If you're getting in the paint and you can put up a floater, that's a legit.
That's what he's
shot.
supposed to do for sure.
That's a legit shot.
Well, my whole thing was the timing of the shots. Like we're down by a certain amount, and you have to make this shot to keep us on that train. You know what I'm saying? Like if anybody misses, it's game over. And there's certain guys that just hit shots at the right time. It's timing for me.
Yeah, that's why it was so ice cold, because like it's such a huge lead. That's you're usually a lot of players are going for the home run. Like I'm swinging the fences. Like I'm jacking up threes. If we get how many possessions is that? Oh, that's 3 threes. That's 3 possessions. No, he's like, oh, they're just gonna give me this. I'm just gonna
your defense.
Yeah,
trusting that we're gonna get stops. And we did.
James Harden looked horrible. Like
but I knew that like going into this series, you're like, yo, we gotta hunt this. It's just like the Embiid series. Like you gotta hunt him, attack him. You can't play a lick of defense.
I think the brilliance of like the history of Harden was that he has a counter for everything. That's like his claim to fame. Like no matter what happens, he's not gonna pick up his dribble. He's never quite out of it. He doesn't pick up his dribble. He's either gonna shoot it or pass it. Like no matter what you do, he has a counter for it. This James Harden, he looks like he's picking up the ball. He doesn't know if he's gonna pass. He doesn't know if he's gonna. He's very unsure. Like I don't know if he has a leg injury, but you see he's running out of those counters he usually had in the past.
Yeah. All right, so I want to get some of your guys' opinions on the next game. But first, I'm gonna put Al out there. He texted me. He said, "Ryan looks bored," and I said, it's all right. He's watched Cleveland all year. He's used to it.
Man.
But Ryan, I'll throw it to you first. Like I know you're optimistic. What do you think as a Cavs fan? What do you think needs to be different for you guys to contend in this series?
Yeah, I mean, Brunson, I think it's just mostly the defense. And I think Atkinson needs to figure out some other players, be it Dean Wade or Ellis or even Jalen Tyson. He was a kind of our second year, like big surprise. And, he kind of fell off. We got some good guys on the bench. The one thing I don't understand is Harden plays more minutes than anybody else on the team. I guess to your point, Phil, that you made earlier, he's really the only distributor, true point guard that we have. It's just a weird situation. And also, I don't understand what's going on with, the team in general and generating points. Like Mitchell in the last 3 playoffs, like he's been like almost godlike, right? Like everything goes through him, but now he defers a lot more and something's going on with him too. I don't really understand what's going on, but yeah, it's going to have to come down to the defense and figuring out what we're going to do with what we're going to do when, the Cavs need to switch defensively and Harden becomes a liability. We're going to need to sub somebody in and obviously call timeouts. But yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know what the adjustments is. I think games 2 is going to be hard. Maybe they have the grit to pull one and steal one, but I'm not super optimistic about about that one in general. So
yeah,
game
no,
3.
All right, so we're gonna get ready to go to the last pour, but before, Fritz, I want your thoughts on this next game. Do you think it's a W? Do you think that they steal one? What are your thoughts? And how many games do you think this series goes?
I think this next game is gonna be nothing like game 1. I think both teams pretty much sleepwalked for the first half. I think if Cleveland beats us, they beat us because they had great 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
That's I think the only way they beat us. I think I think they're in for a rude awakening. How well the Knicks play passing lanes. I think we're going to get out in transition, and I think we're going to run up the score.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. What's your thoughts, Joe?
Well, yeah, man. I mean, I really feel like this Cleveland team hasn't even scratched the surface with how good our team can be. I think the 8-game run that we've been on, it doesn't really even tell the whole story. Like we're on a whole different level right now. Like I've been saying, there's levels to this playoffs. Like you can't just come out of nowhere and expect to win a championship. But the Knicks, we were in the ECF last year, and it's our turn, man. Like Cleveland's been our little brother. Like they've been following in our footsteps, trying to trail behind us. Like, I'm sorry, Ryan, but like it's just not your guys' time yet. And that's just the truth. And you know what? This Knicks team, man, we've been putting in the levels, even in the years before last year. Like I've been watching this team for a long time, man. Listen, Elfrid Payton years, it's been tough. But, this year, finally, everything's starting to click. And we got all the pieces that we need. We got Cat. He's been our main hub, our main distributor. You guys haven't even seen Cat pass the ball like he can pass the ball yet. Like, you guys wait until game 2 when Cat starts operating as a hub and you watching us, set our cross screens and all our misdirections, We're going to be making all these open lanes. You guys are not going to know which way to look when it comes to defending our offense, man. And that's another thing. Our defense is legit. We are elite. We are a top 5 defense, easy. Our differentials tell the story. Listen, if you really know about what's going on with this Knicks team, you know that we're on a whole different level, man. So listen, I'm just going to say beware of this Knicks team, man, because you guys haven't really seen us yet. And I've been trying to say it. This Knicks team is scary, bro. We are scary. And if you add on top of it a legend in Jalen Brunson, a guy that's going to drop 40 points a night on your head, no matter what, man, listen, Ryan, I know it's going to be hard to sleep tonight thinking about it, but, listen, bro. Jalen Brunson is him. I'm going to say it again. Jalen Brunson is him.
Himothy.
I love it. All right, Joe. All right, Fritz, I appreciate you guys. We're going to go into this last pour with Ryan and then wrap up the night. Appreciate you guys.
Yo, peace, fellas.
All right. All
right. I'm excited for this
leave me alone, Knicks fans. That's enough abuse.
Seriously.
Whiskey. All right. So,
hey, Ryan, what jersey do you have on?
Actually, it's a Sean Kemp jersey.
Get out of here. That's sick.
Yeah, that's sick. Crazy. That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Back that was when the Cavs were really in the shit. That's when they paid like millions and millions of dollars to Sean Kemp, and he was just impregnating every woman in Cleveland. So
was that Fat Sean Kemp? That was Fat Sean Kemp.
Yeah,
right?
Fat Sean Kemp.
Yeah,
you can still do it.
That's crazy.
But yeah,
that's awesome. That
you know what? I'll say this about the Cavs before we get in the whiskey. So I would say our time is not now. Our time was in 2016. When was the last time the Knicks' time was? A little bit of a burn there. I actually do think, again, I don't know. I don't believe that I never thought that the Cavs would make it to the finals. And honestly, just like you guys said last year, the Eastern Conference Final was kind of like that. We need to get to the Eastern Conference Finals because Mitchell's never been there. That was kind of our thing this year. I think it's kind of a reboot. Not a reboot. I'm sorry, it's not going to be a reboot, but I think they're going to try to retool. I think it does make a lot of sense that LeBron has his last swan song here in Cleveland. It's just a total LeBron thing to do, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah. How do you feel about
anyways,
LeBron back? How do you feel about that?
How would I feel about it?
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean,
yeah, if he's from Cleveland, he's got to love LeBron. Yeah, he's
LeBron. Yeah, I mean, for sure, the guy won us our championship. I mean,
yeah,
the Cavs were so incredibly dominant from 2015 to 2018. Literally, like I think about some of the and this is now coming from when the Cavs were and it was Golden State and the Cavs repeatedly, finals after finals. Like the thought about you guys saying like, oh, well, we beat the Spurs and, we can, from what I learned and about that run is what the regular season and the playoff is, at least that Cavs thing, it was like a flip switch. It was playoff time and they were a totally different squad. Now you had, if not, in my opinion, the best player ever, or I guess people would say the second best player ever. I mean, you have that type of person that's just on another level and you're able to get to that, to do those type of things. But it's kind of framed on how I see this team. Seeing the Cavs in when LeBron came back the second time and seeing these Cavs, it's a totally different beast. And I've never really had aspirations or thoughts that they could actually do it with the team that they had, because you're watching one of the best players ever on your team, right? And you see that team, and now comparing it to this team, it's just a totally different thing.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense. No, I love the optimism. Like for us, LeBron never did anything for us. There was tons of talks about him coming before he went to Miami. And then there's tons of talks of like, oh, rumors are in the league that LeBron would be interested in ending his time in New York. And me, I'm like, no, because then the narrative changes. The NBA narrative changes. All the things that Jalen Brunson has done, if they win with LeBron, even as the third option, it's the king came to New York and won a title. For you guys, it's like your golden child is returning, which makes sense. And honestly, I think that personally, if I was you guys, I would have saved Darius Garland for something like that. Like trying to throw your young, promising players into a player like LeBron. Because yes, LeBron is not LeBron of Cleveland, but he's also not James Harden. He's not the number one option that's going to take you somewhere to contend for a title anymore. But with Donovan Mitchell being the number one and you have to focus on him, then you have the dominance of LeBron, that makes it something, so I feel like that would have been the smarter thing, is to kind of hold your chips with Darius Garland to then go in for a bigger piece, as opposed to now you have to go, okay, is anyone dumb enough to trade for a James Harden, that didn't deliver on his like fifth team, or what do you do? Oh, you're going to trade Mobley? No, that's your future, so it makes it a little hard. So I would have held Darius for something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if I think LeBron is on a 1 year, so I think he's a free agent. I think the Cavs, from my understanding, is I think we could sign him from a mid-level exception if you wanted to do that. Because I agree with you, Phil. Like the narrative, LeBron has been with 3 teams. I don't know if for his last season or his last 2 seasons to make it at a 4th team is kind of a little bit of unless he wins the championship, is kind of a little bit of a nick against his, I guess, overall career or resume. So if I was LeBron and thinking about marketing and the team and like, oh, they waited to the Eastern Conference Finals, the East is pretty weak. I guess we can talk about that in general. Obviously the West is stronger. But hey, LeBron comes back and, they do one more swing with Harden, Mitchell, Mobley, and LeBron and Allen, and give it a shot.
Yeah.
And there's also been talks. The Cavs are talking about, we could potentially trade Mobley for Giannis, and that's just insane. but I don't believe that. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, I don't believe that either because they've made it clear that they're trying to find somewhere that, you know, he would want to be traded for so their name doesn't really get dragged in the mud. And I don't think Cleveland is that for him. But no, I agree. He is an unrestricted free agent this year, so he definitely could head on over there. But what I'm like, the way I was thinking about it is like, Lakers have already shown that like Luka is their future, you know? So like, why not instead of like, you know, I don't know. I like using LeBron and being able to give Darius to the Lakers, who are a team that's trying to now develop around Luka, you know, give them another young player that's promising and get more back in return, you know, for the
You're
future.
talking about like this season, like having LeBron this season instead of waiting in the offseason?
Exactly. Yeah, because James Harden is not your guy's future by any means of the word. You know, like you guys aren't looking 3 or 4 years down the line. You gave a young player for a guy that is not going to be here in 2 years, you know, as opposed to trade him to LA, get LeBron, try to get something else, you know, in return. Like, obviously, LeBron is going to ask for Bronny to go with him wherever he goes, you know, so you guys got to soak that contract up as well now. So we'll see how that goes. But, all right, let's go into this last pour before we call it a night. All right.
Yeah.
11-year triple oak. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so this was kind of a nerdy thing that we did. So this is the 10-year Kentucky bourbon that you were tasting before, the one that had the peanut in it. But we play around with it with a lot of different finishes. So we had a 20-year-old Indiana light whiskey that was hazmat. And so this is multiple barrels. So we put 2 barrels in 20-year-old of this 10-year Kentucky bourbon, 2 barrels in 20-year-old Indiana light whiskey barrels, and then 1 other barrel in the 13-year-old Kentucky bourbon barrel, which was the second bottle that you poured. So those type of things. So we let those age for, you know, a handful of months, and when we tasted them, it was the light whiskey added a lot of influence, up the proof incredibly. Like, I think it was down. I think when we originally poured that whiskey in, it was around like 120, and it went up. It skyrocketed to like 130 something, and it was off balance. Truthfully, transparently, and you know we're fully in at this point. And we also had some 8-year wheated bourbon from North Carolina, which is killer, by the way. Really interesting notes. It's actually one of my favorite barrel last.
Southern Star or whatever.
Southern Distilling. Yeah. I can't say that. We don't have an NDA with them. But yeah, they make incredibly good whiskey. Their wheated bourbon is so good. I think it's so much better than Weller, and that's just my opinion. And it's unique in a way, like has like coffee, espresso notes, like chocolate, super. Actually, that's what I've been drinking tonight. So the idea was after we aged those 3 barrels in the barrels that I talked about, the 20-year-old light whiskey and the 13-year-old Kentucky barrels, it was just a little off balance. So what we did to kind of sweeten and tame it down and balance it out was put those 3 barrels in 3 barrels of 8-year Kentucky wheated bourbon barrels. So kind of a mad scientist, you know, kind of making it right. So yeah, this is what it is. It's a blend of those barrels, and you'll kind of get, I don't know if you guys have much experience with light whiskey, which is pretty much corn whiskey. You'll get like sweeter, fruitier candy corn type of notes, and I
can smell the candy corn on this.
Definitely catch it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So shout out to Southern Star Distilling in North Carolina. My family lives in North Carolina, so when I saw that like a whiskey brand came out of North Carolina, I was like, what are you talking about when they first came out on the scene? And then I went over to a friend's house. My guy Anthony goes by Bourbon Whiskey Library, and he had me come out to his spot and try some stuff. He lives in North Carolina, and he let me try a Southern Star, and I was like, man, this is delicious. So I started following them, and they put out a barrel exclusive partnership with the Panthers out there, the Panther football team. They put like the Panther label and everything on it, and it was like an exclusive release. And I picked one of those up, and it blew my mind. Like that actually, like to me, made me go, all right, these guys are actual contenders. Like they're not just here today, gone tomorrow whiskey from North Carolina. Like they're actually really, really good whiskey. So shout out to Southern Distilling. They put out a honey gold, and that's one that I've been wanting to get my hands on because I know it's going to be delicious. So let's go for this pour. This smells delicious. You can smell the sweetness off the nose.
I also get like vanilla, like cake batter also on the nose. That's what I'm smelling.
Yeah, that would make sense. Like a birthday cake type of
a birthday cake. Yeah, that's what I'm smelling on the nose. Really nice. Really lovely
really
nose.
good. That's a really good note. And it'll be interesting to see if you guys think this drink's hotter than the other ones.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it drinks a little hotter for sure.
Yeah, I get sweet corn, vanilla, oak.
What do you attribute that to? Do you attribute that to the American light whiskey?
Yeah, So that's was kind of what we learned is like the amount. It's amazing when you really think about it. And this is kind of just me as a whiskey nerd, kind of playing around. It's like, all right, well, we have this 11-year-old, it was 10 turned to 11-year-old Kentucky bourbon, and it was more like, okay, so what could we do with it? Well, we have some empty 20-year-old American light whiskey. That would be interesting. Like, what happens with that? Well, 3 months later, holy shit, like it went up 9 proof points from what? Like
that's
the whiskey
insane.
that was absorbed in the thing. Like what is going on? So then you're like, all right, so that really threw us a curveball on the whiskey. So then it was more of, all right, how do we try to mellow it out? And what I've learned, talking to other people is, so my preference in whiskey is more of, I like very balanced. I don't like astringency. I don't like to get knocked in the mouth when it comes to like oak or oak tannins. But there are incredible amount of drinkers that love that. They just want a flamethrower in there. And not saying this is a flamethrower, but this to me is more of go Cavs. I saw the comment, go Cavs. Is more of like on that edge, right? Of it'll get you. It has a little extra kick to it, and that's why I thought this was a better nightcap and climbing your way up the ladder. Because with the light whiskey, it definitely added that.
Yeah,
well, now it makes sense why everything else we drank the way it drank, like lesser. It drank like below its proof. I wanted to ask you. I'm sorry, Phil. I wanted to ask you earlier, because it sounds like the bottles that we're all drinking today are like bottles that were picked by other like groups and stuff like that. But like, do you have any like staples? Like, how do we get like any of these? Can you get any of these bottles? How does that work with your company?
Yeah. So we have, great question. So we do have our Founders Reserve, which is our like lower proof, more entry level stuff. We have a bourbon and a rye, and we try to get the age statement as high as we can on those. And then on our website, we also do single barrel releases. So actually 2 of those bottles that you tasted today were released by us. One of them, I think Crime Scene, was a gift shop only release, so only in Cleveland. But the other one, I think, was a little bit of both, Haunted Spirits or whatever it was. So yes, online, we do release our single barrels. They do go quickly though. And I will let a little note to the group in case anybody's interested in having our whiskeys. We are bottling right now some 8-year of that cult following distillery whiskey right now that's finished in. We have a wheated bourbon that was finished in Chardonnay, and then some rye whiskey that was finished in a rum barrel, and another rye whiskey that was finished in a brandy barrel. We're going to have sometime next week, we're going to release on our website those bottles for purchase. And if anybody's interested, you can go on our website, enjoy our newsletter. When you join our newsletter, as soon as we release those, we send out a news blast to everybody, and then let the feast begin. But usually when we release our single barrels, they go pretty quickly. And that's because we try to pick the best, my opinion, some really good barrels to represent the brand and the barrels that we have.
I've really enjoyed what you've put up, what we drank here today. And I'm one of those guys that I'm not looking for this, just like you said, I'm not looking for that punch you in your chest. I'm kind of looking for a little bit of a more balance, or for using the word smooth, like a smoother finish. But I do love complexity. I do love the proof needs to be right. Like I do love all the flavors, but I also don't want it to be ethanol-y and like tannicky and like stuff like that. So these all like struck the right chord with me. So I'm definitely looking forward to like trying to get some more stuff from you. So for sure, I'll be joining that group.
See, I love this because, like, me personally, I love hazmat. But it's got to be hazmat that you enjoy the flavor still. That it's not just fire that you taste. Some people will buy anything that's over 140 proof, and they're like, "Oh man, 112, that's ridiculous. Like, who drinks 112 whiskey these days?" I'm like, yo, pipe down, Chachi. I still do. And I got more Instagram followers on my account than you do. Calm down. But for me, it still has to have the complexity of the flavors. And so this one, I feel drinks closer to a hazmat than the ones that were close to hazmat. But what I love about it is that it's not like unflattering, flavorful hazmat. Like, it's very proof forward, but in that proof, you can still taste oak. You could still taste leather. You can still taste caramel. Like, those flavors are still there. Like, you can still taste, like I was trying to figure out the flavor, but like a black cardamom, where it has like dark brown and like smoke dried flavors, like that's what you get, is a little bit of earthiness, which typically you get from like a rye, but this is coming through, with a little bit of earthiness on this as well. So I feel like you get all those things. You get some vanilla, but you get those flavors, and like sometimes you get those like OG whiskey heads that are like, "Oh, it doesn't taste dusty enough." And I'm like, what? You just want to drink dust? But I understand it in a pour like this because it tastes like vanilla, but not just like over sweetened vanilla. I would call this like a dusty vanilla, where it's like there's something covering it, but you still get the hints of vanilla in it. So I feel like this drinks more like a hazmat, but not in a fact that all you taste is like the alcohol, where you're like, oh, that's way too high proof. So I like that you get the punch in the face, but it's also a punch that comes with flavor. That's the kind of whiskey that like makes it worth it.
Yeah. That's interesting you say that, Phil. And it's exactly how, when you make something and you're like, when I cook something for the family or something like that, I'm always like, when I'm eating something, I'm always finding something I could do differently or make it better. While the other family's like, oh, that's great. It's good. So I was, when we bottled this, I'm like, is it good enough? Like, is it good enough for the brand? Do I like it enough? And then somebody else that's in the whiskey tasted it and like, it's good enough. And people got to understand the journey of this. Like, it's an experiment. Who's aging stuff in 20-year-old light whiskey and blending it together?
I was going to ask you
that. Right? Like, it's a part of we've all drinking enough whiskey and had enough bourbon and rye. Like, if you're going into it and thinking like, if you taste this is a unique bourbon, right? Like it's not your typical bourbon. And I was framing it, and I made a post and tried to set the customer base up when we sold this is like, you got to go into it knowing that this is going to be something that you just don't get off the shelf. Like this is an experimental thing. And I said it, I was transparent. It's polarizing. There will be some people like, meh, it's mid. And some people like, shit, I love it. And, a lot of people loved it. And some people are like, it's pretty good. So, and sometimes, especially for the brand, it's good to do stuff like that. Like experiment, have fun, lessons learned, and go on and move on to the next thing.
And that's one thing I love because, like, honestly, there's so many brands that do the safe thing. They put the same stuff out every year, and that's fine. It keeps them in business. They have, the rotating door of customers that want the same, like Buffalo Trace. They're constantly going to put out the same product, and they have their cult following, But for me, I'm like, if you don't try something new, you don't know what could be, And so for me, I'm like, I'm looking for something different. Like as a whiskey content creator that gets packages on my door weekly, like I want to taste something different, Like I don't want to open up a package and be like, yep, this tastes like last Monday's mail delivery. Like what's the joy in that? What's the fun in that? So for someone that drinks all these bottles that come to my doorstep, something like this makes me go, this is different. Like, I like this, like I want the different. I want something that like might not be on my shelf every single day, to drink. But when a friend comes over, I'm like, you got to try this. This is something different. I want those bottles. And so I love that you guys push the envelope on that because I feel like if there's no risk, what is the actual reward? If you're doing everything else the same as everybody else is doing it, what makes you stand out, And so that's what I love about this pour is like, is it for everybody? No. But for the ones that it is for, they're going to champion for this thing.
Yeah.
They're going to wear the t-shirt. They're going to go into the bar and be like, what do you mean you don't have this on your shelf? You need to, So I think this is a standout pour. I absolutely love this. This is the highlight of the night for me.
Yeah. And, for MVPs, there's a lot of us now. It's kind of finding your niche and what you want to, what you do. So, yeah, I appreciate that. That was exactly the point of what we did. And actually, after 2 hours of being on this podcast, I just realized, or video or stream, that I might have not been completely in frame for about more than 75%.
No, you were good. You're good.
Like at my screen that I was looking at, I was like very wide, and then I looked at like Instagram. I'm like, oh shit, like it's half of my forehead.
No. So Instagram's weird. Instagram does this like weird thing, like when it cuts you out. So yeah, you're good. But no, I appreciate it, man. Like these were great pours. Absolutely loved it. Do me a favor and tell people how they can support and like back what you guys are doing.
Yeah, great. I appreciate it. So yes, please jump on our website, River Roots Barrel Co. co.com. You can get all the information. And if you go into like our, bottle sales area or market, you can sign up for that newsletter and we'll let you know when the bottles release. If you're in the Cleveland area or you're a Knicks fan coming for game 3 or 4, you can stop by our distillery. We're open Monday through Friday from 1 to 5. And also we are moving to a new location in a couple of months, just waiting on some final permits, but we're going to be down in the Cleveland Flats area with a full-blown bar, cocktail bar. That guy, remember in the very beginning of the story, I said his name's Tom Gray. He was the brewer that had this investor that wanted to do a brewery and distillery, and we just ended up doing just the distillery, the River Roots part. He now this new place he's going to be brewing some beer, just small, and we're going to do a lot of aging beer in obviously bourbon barrels. So that's the evolution. Hopefully in August we're open by then. But yeah, bigger and brighter things. And when we open this new spot, we have tucked away some special barrels that we've been saving for the opening. So again, another reason for you all to sign up for our newsletter. Both in Cleveland and online, we'll make some very special barrels available. So
I love it. So I'm looking at the site. Obviously, you guys have your like 2 staples available, the
Right
founders. But where else can people look to like find these releases?
Yeah, I mean, so with a small brand, and not to overextend, we're keeping it very kind of niche into our market. So if you're in a bourbon group or a club, any sort of club, or have a business, please reach out to us. We can help you with barrel picks. We're registered through a lot of states. But when we register through states, we're just doing individual single barrel picks and sending it through liquor stores or sending it to individual groups. Or if you don't even have a liquor store, if you're in a bourbon group or a club, you don't even necessarily have to be associated with a liquor store. We can sell your bottles online through our online distributor. But yeah, I mean, out in New York, we're not on liquor store shelves, so you would have to go online and sign up for our newsletter to get some of our single barrel picks, or reach out to us if you're interested in doing a single barrel pick, and we can go through that, explain that process a little bit more in detail to you all.
I love it. All right, so last question I'll ask you. What is your favorite release that you guys have done to this date?
That's a good question.
Because I'm in all the Facebook groups, so I'm gonna go hunting for it tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did. It was all the rage. Buff. We did some. Well, I think at this point, the whole buff turkey thing that happened. We had some 15 and 16-year-old barrels of that. We had the ones that River Roots selected were selected by me. And I think it's just exceptionally good whiskey. So what we did is all those barrels, I went down to Kentucky and I probably tasted 80 or so of barrels, and over the course of time selected my favorites of those 80 and brought maybe like 25 or 30 of the barrels to River Roots. And then the barrels that were bottled, the barrels that were bottled by River Roots were my favorites of the 80 or so barrels I picked. Those are like my favorite 3 or 4 barrels. So if anybody can find those on the secondary market at this point, that would be my recommendation. But I will say, and I did say this previously, outside of just that really good 15-year-old special stuff, going back to Southern Distilling, when I'm just like chilling and just want, as a whiskey nerd, like it's hard for me to keep interested in a pour that's not like super old or something like that. This wheated bourbon, and I think at this point, honestly, we're all sold out of the barrels, but it is so unique and so different and so approachable, and its own, the proof isn't high, guys. It's like always usually under 110 proof, but that's perfectly fine because it's just, in the end, it's just delicious, unique whiskey.
What does that one look like? What does that one look like?
They're all a little different. This is one a bottle that I picked, but this is one that me and a guy on social media, Drums and Dram, picked. We picked this one because it was like an off-profile one, but the barrel code is CJW, and the CJWs are those wheated bourbons from North Carolina. So yeah, you could probably find those, and yeah, it's really, really good wheated bourbon.
Awesome. I love it. Awesome. So what is your thought on this next game? You think you take the W, or you think you take an L?
Taking an L. Taking an L. I'm going to say it. And I'm pessimistic. Guys, it is late. It's past my bedtime. But I will say that I'm going to try to be optimistic about at home, and I'm hopeful that something clicks with the Cavs and they can get that grit, and they can even the series 2-2, and then it's a 3-game series, and we just see what happens. Now, is that realistic?
That's the right way. That's the right way to think of it. That's the right way to think of it. Yeah.
So, and like I said in the beginning, until the Cavs lose at home, I'm gonna still, still be optimistic about it. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Of course.
And then we get LeBron next year, and then it's all bets are off, boys. I'll be back on the podcast, and we'll be talking about it.
We will.
Let's go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate you so much being on here for so long. Like, honestly, you guys are killing it. I'm very thankful to have you on tonight. Let's keep in touch, try to work together in the future, and continue to do stuff. I hope we sweep you guys. But besides that, I like you as a dude. I think you're an awesome dude. Basketball taste, not so much. That's why you purchased the Sean Kemp jersey for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yo, you always got to take some part in shots. I think it's fire.
I love the colors. I'll give you that.
Yeah, the colors.
I appreciate you, and we'll keep in touch.
Ryan, it was very nice meeting you, man. Thank you so much for the delicious pours.
Have a great night.
Cheers, boys. Talk to you later.
Cheers.
All right, so I want to wrap up with this little video real quick that I saw that had me cracking up. I love like content creators that can make me laugh. So this is a guy right here. He goes by Josh Impressions. He does this thing called Skip Salas, where he acts like Skip and how Skip would react to current situations in the NBA. So this is him giving his Skip Salas impersonation of last night's game. Oh, hold on. Start it over. Gotta get the volume on here. Refresh.
What? The Cavs were up 22 points with 7.5 minutes to go, and you blew it? You want to talk about an all-time epic collapse. I've been watching ball since, I don't know, the mid-1700s. I've never seen anything like that. Those final 6 minutes, James Harden had his head up Booty Brunson's ass. You want to talk about cooked? What was the coach doing? I mean, put someone else on him. Make some kind of adjustments. That was just pathetic. In the end, this wasn't just a devastating loss. This was an all-time catastrophic loss. That's now cooked. I guess it's orange and blue skies.
Yo, the tapping and the
breathing and like just the over accentuating on something.
Big Booty Brunson.
I love it. It's hilarious. All right, Al, tomorrow night at our watch party, W or an L?
You know we're getting that W, man. I think we snatched their soul on, what was that? Was that Monday? Yeah, Monday. I'm losing track of the days, man. No, well, that was Tuesday. Yeah, man. We snatched their soul. You could see it in their face. They reminded me of how the Sixers looked after we beat them. What game? After we beat them in game 3, I was like, oh, yeah, they're cooked. They're not. There's no way they're winning game 4.
Over.
So that's how the Cavs looked to me yesterday. So I'm like, man, I think they're done, bro. We might make quick work out of them. So I definitely expect I expect us to win tomorrow, and I expect us to win in dominant fashion. I think we figured some stuff out, and we're gonna put BTA tomorrow.
Yep, I agree. I think tomorrow's a for sure dub. I think the fact that we beat them when we looked atrocious for 3.5 quarters of basketball in game 1, like we looked bad. Like bottom line, like we were neck and neck with them in the first half, but we played bad basketball until the last 5 minutes of that game. And we were still able to come back and steal their souls. So I think that we definitely get that dub tomorrow. I think we get the next 2, to be honest. I think if we lose one, it'll be game 4 because back's up against the wall and they don't want to go out with a sweep. But I think we take the next 2. If you are anywhere in Florida, come to the watch party tomorrow. If you know somebody in Florida, come to the watch party tomorrow Come hang out with me and Al tomorrow night. It's going to be a movie. We're looking forward to it. We appreciate you guys. Great whiskey pours tomorrow. 11 TVs and 2 projectors, live sound all night. So please make sure to be there at Gas Bar's Patio Bar and Grill tomorrow night. We appreciate you guys. Like I always say, if you drink tonight, please drink responsibly. Do not get behind the wheel. Call an Uber, call a friend, call a wife, call a hubby, whatever you got to do. We never want to promote being stupid. So we want to make sure that our Knicks fans are taken care of. Please support River Roots. Please support our guy, Doug Lust. Both of them were a blessing to have on the show tonight. Thank you for the 250 of you that decided to stay with us till freaking midnight. I didn't even realize it was midnight. So thank you guys for rocking with us this long. Honestly, Al, I appreciate you, bro. Talking to you and Apollo, time flies by. I do not feel like it's been 4 hours of life, basketball, and Knicks talk. So I appreciate you.
It's been awesome.
And until next time, guys, God bless, and we will see you next Thursday. Next Thursday night with Peerless Bourbon, which I'm really excited to have.
Yes.
Next week. So we'll see you then. God bless you guys. Peace out.
Peace.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em a shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now.